You know this? You know this?
Nope, not at all.
Oh my god, I'm so bad at humming songs. Oh, maybe you haven't seen it, right? Have you ever heard of this place called Indiana Jones?
I actually haven't seen Indiana Jones.
You haven't literally seen any of the Indiana Jones movies? Callum, have you seen any movies?
I've seen Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
Like those 6? Or I guess...
I've seen I like some old horror films.
Oh, no, actually, no, there's only one Lord of the Rings, right? No, there's 3.
There's 3.
Oh, yeah, but it feels like one, right?
Yeah, kind of. Just like a 10-hour one.
Yeah. I feel like the Star Wars ones are a lot more like, there are proper ends to them, whereas the Lord of the Rings ones... Where does the first one actually end?
Where does the first one end? Oh, God.
Is that when they find the ring or something?
I can't remember, and I should know.
The second one ends when they cut... No, that's Luke, when they cut off his hand. The second one ends when they... There's 2 towers.
Yeah, it's like after Helm's Deep.
Oh no, the first one ends when Boromir freaks out, right, and wants to take the ring.
Oh yeah, the Uruk-hai.
And then they part ways.
And they run away. Yeah.
And then they cross the river and everything. It's like, oh my god, river, no, we can't get there. Okay.
Cool,
no,
we did it.
Actually, you know why I was humming Indiana Jones?
Nope.
Oh dude, I've been to Egypt. Egypt has been insane
for
me.
Let's kick right in. Tell us about this.
Everybody, hello and welcome to Everyday Eternal number 160, your favorite, most deceptively named bi-weekly travel podcast, I guess. Today's show is brought to you by our Patreons, Retro Shara and Dylan Shoemaker, who just joined on, I think, the Eternal Witness tier. Thank you so much. If you want to support the running of the show directly, you can support us on patreon.com/everydayeternal, and I guess also get some coupons to go to Egypt. I don't know. Dude, I have been unfair to Egypt. I've been to so many trade fairs, and every time I was trying to sell Kenya, people were like, yeah, Kenya is cool, but let's just do Egypt again. And I was like,
Egypt's just better, is it?
I've never been to Egypt, but I hate it. They take away my customers. They just get out. They're so much easier to get to. They're so much cheaper. They're like, but they don't have... I guess does Egypt have... No, Egypt doesn't have elephants, right? I don't think they have elephants. I've never seen elephants.
You're the travel expert.
Yeah. I would be surprised if Egypt had no, Egypt doesn't have native elephants. I'm pretty sure.
They have camels.
I'm not even pretty sure. I'm like 99.99 sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's lions in India, so you never know. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so last week, on super impromptu, short notice, basically on Monday night, my boss gave our the itinerary to my 2 colleagues and me. And then on Tuesday at 2 a.m, we met at the airport.
That's quick.
Yeah, he was like, you guys really got to go to Egypt before Christmas because, I don't know, maybe it's just some religious thing. I don't know. Probably not, though. And then he and one of our other colleagues, they put together the itinerary, and then we went to, I want to say we looked at 20-something hotels, dive centers, and kite centers in 4 days, basically.
God.
I think for 1.5 days, for almost 2 days, we didn't just sleep at all. It's just you have become machines sent back in time to check out places.
Why doesn't my boss send me to Egypt? It's
aren't you into accounting right now? You could learn some
Egyptian
Egyptian accounting.
That's it. That's the area I need to get into.
Yeah. But yeah, I without getting too deep into it, the north was very touristy, Laguna and those places. And then when the further south we got pretty close to the Sudanese border, and I felt like I was vibing a lot more with the south because it all of a sudden there's fewer people. It becomes much more about whether you are into diving, snorkeling, or doing anything nature-wise, just because the whole things around to do. Because just to give you an idea, we had a lot of problems getting a hotel on short notice in the north because there was an international film festival, which is that would be so unheard of for the south. That's just no, this is desert, dudes. This is not.
Is the north and south just completely different?
I've only been there for 4 days, so I don't want to make too big of claims. But
you surely studied your enemy when you were trying to promote Kenya.
No, I just focused on myself and tried to make Kenya as great as. And honestly, that's actually
fair
true.
Enough.
But yeah, we met so many amazing people. Also people who just went to certain dive centers in the middle of nowhere, and they were like, oh, I came here as a tourist. Then I liked it so much, and the second time I came, they offered me to take over the dive center. Now I've been here for 30 years, and it's just whoa. You,
okay.
I want to do what you're doing. This is just, oh, my dad is calling me. Okay, I'm back.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, my dad just called me. He wanted to know about Egypt and like which places to go. This is just
So
like
say listen to the podcast.
Yeah, wow, dude, you're a marketing genius. I was gonna say like, yeah, I'm gonna give you a talk later on Christmas and everything. You're like, no, just check out everything. Like at that point, I probably have to explain what a podcast is.
True.
Okay, so by the way, we are a legacy podcast, but I want to just tell this thing because that was one of the most amazing experiences in my life. So on the very last day, right, we get to the very, very south, and on the itinerary, we're already like, do we really have to go down to like this hotel like in the very south, like 2.5? We thought it was going to be 2.5 hours away from our last stop, which was already like very far south. And then the road was so bad, we were sometimes like driving on this like the desert next to the road because the road was just like the road was not a road, it was an obstacle basically.
yeah, like super bumpy, I guess. Holes
Yeah, so
in
we
it.
arrived like super late, but I had their WhatsApp, so I sent them a message and was like, okay, we're coming like really late, we'll just like meet you in the morning. And they were like, no, we're waiting. Like this German lady who had been there for like 30 years, and then this Austrian girl who was started working at the dive center for like a year ago. And then they welcomed us, and they were like, oh my god, you had such a stressful itinerary and you've been to so many places. Let's just like give you the coolest, chillest experience we can imagine the next day. So what they organized for us the next day, like, okay, we went like snorkeling along the reef on the very next morning. That was insane because they have like, the reason you go down there is like the amazing reefs for like diving and snorkeling. But you're also like, you're not allowed to dive like 24 hours before a flight and yada yada.
I would love to do that. I've gone snorkeling once years ago, like in Greece, and it's one of my things I want to do most now. So maybe we should go to Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt's Red Sea, it's basically the paradise for snorkelers and divers as well. So yeah, definitely. So you know what they did? And that's why I was like humming Indiana Jones. So in the afternoon, they were like, okay, we really got to get going at like, I think it was like 3:30 p.m., which they call 4:30 p.m. because the hotel decided that they're just like 1 hour further ahead, so the sunsets are better.
Never be late.
Yeah, it's like not a political time zone or anything. It's literally just the hotel decided, you know what, we're going to do everything 1 hour later. Just so, you know, the vibe is going to be better and the sun doesn't like set at like 5 p.m. or something. Like they are so smart. Like they if they try to go to like another country, they would first need to check whether the brain fits into the airplane. So they didn't even properly tell us what we were about to do. They just like said, okay, put on some like rough clothing, like proper shoes and everything. We're like, okay, we're going to go out into the desert. So then we go out into the desert and they have like, have you ever ridden a quad?
No.
Okay, they put, you know what a quad is though, right?
Yeah.
So
like
they
a
put
motorbike with 4 wheels.
Yeah, exactly, right? For the people who can't ride motorbikes. Like, that's exactly how I felt as I was riding it. I was like, oh my god, this is motorbikes for like clumsy people, but I loved it so much. So they set it up. We rode out into the desert, like literally straight into the desert. And then after like, I don't know, like half an hour, we came to like a valley, which was literally because you think that's only desert, but actually there's mountains. As soon as you like go a little bit further inland, there's going to be mountains, and then there's this valley that opens up, and we drive into the valley and around a couple of like corners, and inside the valley there's this one tree, and at that moment I completely realized, oh my god, this is where they were so like, oh, we gotta get going at this exact time, because if you go at that exact time and you ride at a normal speed, as you like cross into the valley, there's a tree, and like the sun is so low that it exactly hits the tree. And it looks like something out of a movie. Like I literally wanted to get off the quad and just like start taking pictures, but we couldn't. We were like racing along.
Yeah.
But this looked so amazing. I literally want to go back and just take a picture of the tree.
Gotta go next year. You gotta be like, boss, look, I think we can go to more diving places.
But the thing is, they actually invited me to come back and like on a free flight and take pictures and everything, because I took some pictures later on and they liked them so much that like, last night they sent me a message and they were like, you know, if you want to come back on a paid flight and paid stay, just to take pictures and we can use them.
Do it so fast.
And yeah, oh, dude, maybe one day we're going to make a travel podcast. And that's not even the greatest thing. The greatest thing is then on the other side of the valley, there was an even wider open desert. I mean, yeah, Sahara, like, you know, goes all the way across. But we didn't. We drove up to a cliff. And we took some amazing pictures up there on the cliff. Like I took pictures of like, this is the craziest photo shoot I ever had. Like 2 girls in hot pants and like wearing these desert scarves and stuff. And then like we took pictures on the quads and everything. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. But they already printed one of my pictures on a flyer for the trade fair. Which is like
nice.
And afterwards, okay, and that's the last part. And then we get to the magic. We rode back into another valley. and the sun was already like coming down. Oh, and as we exited that first valley, right? As we exit the valley, we drive straight into the setting sun. It was just like, this is like, if you do this in a movie, people are like, yeah, but a place like this doesn't exist.
But was there an explosion behind you?
There might have actually been one, now that I think about it.
I'm not impressed if there's not.
You know, one of the girls I was traveling with, she actually had some kind of accident, and we caught it on GoPro because we had one guy riding along with a GoPro filming everything, and I haven't watched it yet, and she didn't get hurt, but apparently there was like some serious stunt that she pulled.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we will see. So anyway, so as the sun is almost about to go down, we ride back into another valley, and then like that one goes a little bit uphill, and there's, you know, around the corners and everything, and then we arrive at basically what I want to call, you know, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when they... Oh, no, you don't.
Nope, not at all. No, but by all means, I reckon like half our listeners are like, what the fuck, you idiot.
You know, that's why we put in show notes if you want to skip this part. Skip to 20 minutes or something.
No, I'm talking about me not having watched Indiana Jones.
Well, like, there's so much more for you to explore, right? You haven't watched Breaking Bad, I would guess. You haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I haven't watched Game of Thrones. I started watching Breaking Bad and got really bored. So
yeah, that's how it usually goes. And then, like, it turns to the best show you've ever experienced. It's a very common feeling. I can, as somebody who absolutely loves it, I can very much understand why you would feel that way. So,
yeah,
here we go. We run deep into the valley, and then we arrive. Like, we are surrounded on all sides by mountains. We get this like narrow path that we quad up, and then we arrive at what I want to call like a desert fortress. And for those who like the elite few who have watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, it's in the very end when they arrive at Peter, right? That in Jordan, actually Jordan you call it in English. In Jordan, like that thing that's built into the wall.
I'm going to say yes, like I know. Yeah.
You must know about Petra, I guess they call it.
I don't know the name, but I know Jordan.
If I show it to you, you will know immediately. Okay, so but we arrive at that place, but there's also like a small like village around. But village it's too much. It's just like it's a fortress. And
I know picture. I'm just googling it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you found it. Okay, so we go in there in the middle of the night already, almost like it gets dark pretty early, and then they tell us, okay, this is the place, we built that place, but we haven't really told anybody about it properly. Like, if you go to Google Maps to that location, it's just like you can see it on the satellite view, but it doesn't like put anything there because it's literally just not a thing that has been properly recognized yet by the world. So when I sent it to a friend of mine, I sent her the GPS coordinates. Just like, check this out on Google Maps.
We're at the rocks.
And they're still trying to figure out what they're gonna do with it. They had like a techno rave up there, and I can very much see that. And actually, I had the first coffee of my life in that place.
Wow! Now I'm impressed.
Yeah, and like I have to be honest. Like, they asked me, "Hey, how did it taste?" And the only thing I could say was the truth, which is like,
it's very bitter.
Exactly how I expected it to taste.
Yeah.
And then they didn't ask anymore. But yeah, it's crazy. They have like two bedrooms that they're thinking about like maybe renting them out or something. But
this is at the Petra.
Yeah, exactly. But also like in that small square in front of it, which is like basically an event location that has really only hosted one private event yet. So I was thinking, like, if you want to promote that place, you put people on quads and you just give them the GPS location and they figure it out. And then like you have some casualties along the way, but that's just like part of the deal.
Yeah, let's have a legacy GP out there.
It's so funny. Like, now that you say that, Roomcore, Inigo, he literally said that. Let's have a desert GP.
Dude, I want to have a GP at Petra in the desert.
Dude, Camel is going to be unstoppable. Protection from deserts. Oh my God, so good.
Oh shit, yeah. I mean, everyone has to play desert in their deck.
Oh my! I once did actually in some kind of block constructor. I think it was like Time Sparrow or something.
It was in like Pauper as well.
But yeah, I could keep going on for another hour or something. But I guess we there's just like so much other stuff to talk about. How have you been? You're a vintage champion, right?
No. I can't really follow that. Like, that sounds incredible. I know I would be like, I've seen the pictures that you post on Twitter and stuff, and it looks so picturesque. It looks amazing. I've now got pictures of Petra in front of me, and it's just like, I would love to go there. It looks absolutely amazing. It's kind of like people describe it as like a once in a lifetime holiday, but it doesn't sound like it will be once in a lifetime for you at all. So.
You know, that was just like 1.5 days. Literally the last 1.5 days of my stay there.
Crazy.
And I immediately want to go back.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, people can check out your pictures on Twitter, I guess.
Oh, Twitter, Instagram even more so.
Instagram, fine. I didn't.
It's my Instagram, I believe, is like It's Julian023, the worst, least marketable. I gotta find another one. It's just maybe we have to resort to Magma So maybe
Magma Lord 1000 first.
Cool. Yeah, start out at 1000. Might already be taken. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, I've been good. It's been a while since we did a podcast, hasn't it? Like
almost a month. Yeah.
So what have I done magic wise? So I was completely forgetting what I'd played until you said vintage. But we had a really nice back to back of Premodern on one Sunday and then vintage the next Sunday. So in Premodern, I played Goblins because I just cannot stop playing that deck. Every single time I'm like, I'm going to put something together new, brewish, or like Goblin Welder and Tinker, two of my favorite cards ever. So I'm trying to build like a bit of a brew, but it's kind of a thing in Premodern already with those two cards in. Mm-hmm. But the day before, every single time I'm just like, I start to look at the Goblin deck and I'm just like, yeah, the boys are coming out to play tomorrow every time.
So it's just such an amazing fun deck.
Oh, it's so fun. It's just like it plays the aggro. I had a game where I killed someone on turn 3 on the draw.
That happens in Legacy like all the time. Like we were talking about, like we were delaying the start of this cast because I told you, oh dude, let me finish my match, and then it was like finished in like 4 minutes because I got like killed on turn 2 and killed on turn 3. It's just like, who's the combo deck now?
By Goblins.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, especially like the double goblins, mind goblin opening. That's that gets you.
But Premodern Goblins is a very different beast. It is like the shell of why all old school goblin players fell in love with the deck to begin with. Like you're like porting for 3 turns and then like, you know, playing a flurry of things. You're playing control in some matchups. You're playing like pile driver aggro in others, and it's just a beautiful deck to play.
It reminds me a lot of like what Legacy Goblins used to be like 2005, 6-ish.
It is though. Like the shell it's 4 lackey, and then like pile drivers and war chiefs and matrons and ringleaders and siege gangs.
Oh, dude, this is literally Legacy Goblins almost 20 years ago.
It is, and then it has wastelands and ports, obviously, and port is
anything that's like that wasn't played in Legacy back then. Was there anything missing? Not really.
No,
right?
you got gem palms as well. It's like old Legacy Goblins, but the vial is missing.
There's okay. You can do without, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, it's just beautiful to play. It plays so nicely. You have so many options, so much agency in it. So I got to the finals, which is pretty cool. I won the last Premodern with Goblins, so I got to the finals. I was like, ooh, can we do back to back? And then I won game 1. And then I just punted game 2 and 3 so badly, both of them, like just completely me making really silly mistakes. So I lost a really sick, like mono black aggro-ish, the rack deck. Like it was called Plague Spitters and Engineer Plagues did a lot of damage.
Plague Spitters?
Yeah.
That sounds really good against goblins.
Yes, it was brought in from the sideboard, and I knew Engineered Plague as well. But how I threw game 3 was I had 2 War Chiefs in play, and they had a Engineered Plague, or a Plague Spitter, sorry. And they'd missed their 3rd land drop, and I had a Pyrokinesis, and I was like, I should just kill this Plague Spitter before it triggers in their upkeep, because the card does upkeep, deal 1 damage to all creatures, not players. And I was like, just kill it before they get the trigger in their upkeep, because they've missed their 3rd land drop. They kept 7. They obviously have an Engineered Plague in their hand. And then I went go, and then as I was saying go, I was like, Callum, this is stupid. Callum, this is stupid. Go. And they slam a 3rd land and play Engineered Plague. And then a Goblin didn't live the rest of the game. Yeah, it was just one of those things. But the deck was really cool, and the guy hadn't won a tournament before. He had come with friends from like a 3-hour drive away from the thing. And so I just thought it was really cool that he won. He was really ecstatic to win it. He played it pretty well as well. It's really cool. So I couldn't really ask for more. I had fun playing Goblins. Guy got his first win. The group who traveled far got to go home with the winner. It was just awesome. So I've left it being really happy.
So would you say that you got a lot of people at the shop or at the bar where you played that hadn't been there before?
Yeah, so it was 20 people this time. I think the first one had like just over 20. The next one had just under. This was the third one, about 20. There's 4 guys that they drove down from somewhere in the Midlands. So that was cool.
Anything north of London is like the Midlands.
Anything south of London is the Midlands as well.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Dude, I know Brighton. You know, Brighton used to be like the hotspot for YouTubers.
Oh yeah, that's like really far north. Yeah.
Oh, Brighton. Okay, sure. Yeah.
I'm joking. Yeah.
I know.
So that was cool. And then the following
Sunday... You also
Sunday...
played Vintage, right?
Yeah, we had Vintage on the following Sunday. That was really cool.
It was actually the most requested topic when we asked on the Discord. Like, everybody wanted to know how Vintage went for you. Like, Eternal Weekend, nah. 4 Seasons, nah. How did Callum's Vintage event go?
Vintage was great. I actually won the last Vintage as well. I'm not trying to humble brag too much here. I won the last one with 8 cast, and that was like not a very good deck.
Vintage 8 cast?
Yeah. I just saw.
Is that a thing? It sounds like PO for poor people or something.
It's not very good, but it was very fun. I saw Urza in a deck. I'm like, yeah, that's my thing. So that was, I mean, my thing with these kind of like smaller Sunday events is I never try and play the best deck, or I never try and metagame too much, or I just play something that I know I'll enjoy. And so we had 20 players for Vintage as well, which is pretty good. We've had above or 20 Vintage players every time, which is quite big for small Vintage events.
So how often do these events happen?
They're quarterly now. Francis runs them, and at the beginning was like, do we do it every other month, every few, longer, but quarterly now, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it's called like the London Vintage Quarterly or something?
Something like that. I don't know. London Vintage, and then, yeah, I guess quarterly. But this time I played Breach because I missed that deck.
Wait, didn't you just tell me you weren't trying to like basically spike?
Well, Breach is not top tier in Vintage.
Not anymore. Like Jeskai Breach is not top tier anymore?
No. I mean,
actually it isn't, right? You're right.
No.
Like when I look at the results, you barely ever see it. That's true.
I wanted to play it for a long time, and then part of my brain was like, I think it's probably actually quite well positioned if you're expecting lots of Oath, because Oath is having a bit of a breakout at the moment, and Oath is good, but this is a deck with more permission and a faster combo, just more combo pieces. So I figured, you know what, it technically sounds well positioned, but that wasn't the reason to play. It was just like, it seems really fun to me. So I took a list that Bosch and Roll 5-0 League with a while back, probably testing for Eternal Weekend, and I made the top 4 playoff. I think I went 4-1 in the Swiss. I lost to Shops, doing shop stuff. That Workshops card's pretty good. And then I beat Oath twice, and Squeevine, and I can't remember the last one.
Dude, Squeevine is always so scary. Like whenever I play against like Squeevine, these decks, I literally remember the first couple of times I played against those decks, I was like, come on, like how good can that shit, like Basking Root Roller, this is vintage. And then like
Squeevine is just vintage Delver. It's like tempo and aggressive, and it plays just enough like, you know, free interaction to get them over the line.
It's only a matter of time until like vintage also sees Rhinos. But don't tell me that's already a deck.
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
But the Squeevine player is also a guy called Josh, who's Fire Truck Online. He's very, very strong player.
I love these random nicknames too.
Yeah, it's a cool name, Fire Trucks.
It's much better than it's Julian 023.
Yeah, that's pretty lame. But I think I'm running pretty hot against him. I managed to beat him in the quarters of the last one, and then I managed to beat him here. And both times afterwards, we're talking about it. We're both like, I think this matchup's pretty unfavored for me whenever I'm playing, and we're both agreeing, and we're both I get lucky. Vintage is vintage. Like I kind of played it out sometimes and stuff, and got a bit lucky there. And then in this, I lost to. I played Francis for like the win in, although we might have got in. He was playing Breach as well, but like a Lurrus Breach version, so no Tinker for Citadel. And I beat him in the Swiss. And then I win game 1 of the semi-finals, I guess. And then we're both just like, all right, well, I've got 3 in a row. Like, can we do the last one? And then obviously he gets the last 2, which is. But they were incredible games. Oh my god, all 5 of these games played actually felt super tight. Tons of back and forth, tons of interaction. So
that's vintage, right?
Yeah,
but very much so.
Honestly, it was really cool because we both have like, you know, the recalls and the time walks, and we both have Urza Saga. So there's a sub game of like you could win with damage, but our combo just wins on the spot. But you can't also let the dig through times and the ancestral recalls resolve and stuff. So those are some of the most fun games I think I've played in a very long time, just in any format.
Those are some of the most challenging ones. That reminds me a lot of like old Talk Mirrors, where it was like, oh, I want to count Artifact of Fiction, but like the actual master of the matchup says you do not count Artifact of Fiction, which was like I think Carlos Romero, and everything is just like, oh my god, this is like making these tough decisions. That's you wanna be in a game that has tons of them. Like people always talk about decisions, and like there are so many decisions that are just like straight up boring. I think somebody once wrote an article, I think it was called like the illusion of choice, which is like technically you have choice, but like if you have like half a brain, like you only have 10% of the choices you really think you have. But when you get into a game where you have like a ton of these like really deep hard choices, that's like really good Magic then.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing in that kind of this pseudo mirror is at the beginning I made a comment to Francis like, oh, you have Lurrus, you must be favored because you can just play more reactive. But I managed to combo the first 2, and Francis is insanely good, so I think I was concentrating way more in these games than any other games. And I was just like, gotta give him the respect he deserves. And I think I managed the first 2 games I did combo both times, one with Vault Key, one with the actual freeze thing.
You don't strike me as a Vault Key player.
I like
you don't strike me as the guy who goes like, No, game is over. Come on, kid. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Well, here, I mean, it's just too good in the deck not to play if you're playing sagas and stuff,
sure.
and Tinker. But and then we had these games, and then Francis played just as tight in the semi-final games, so it's just really cool. Anyway, I'm sure Francis listened to this, so shout out. Those were great.
So you're saying the next one is going to happen at?
So it'll probably be March-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I reckon. If you're not sure, follow Francis on Twitter. We will put his Twitter handle.
His proper Twitter handle?
I'm going to check.
Francis FGC or something?
FGC. It is at Francis Cowper. Cowper spelled Cowper.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Did he actually take it down?
No. He then lost 2 shops in the finals. The shops player that lost in
the
this
same
race.
shops player who got you?
Yeah. So shout out to GK. He's a local London player, like plays in our locals every single week for Legacy as well. Really great guy. So GK was just like, you know what? He usually plays like Blue Decks in Legacy, and then he was like, you know what? I just felt like shopping people. So fair enough. Okay. The other top 4 player was Sahar. We know Sahar very well. We love her dearly. She was playing Oath, so congrats.
She's got her own podcast, right? I think it's called the Legacy Gambit, I believe.
It's like a YouTube
I hope I'm
channel.
not wrong. Oh, it's a YouTube channel.
Yeah, but they do podcast-esque kind of videos and stuff sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Also
I only heard about the name and I've seen some of the stuff. I thought it was a podcast. I mean, it might still be one.
The Legacy Gambit, so check it out on YouTube for sure.
I was just, by the way, I was just watching. It's so funny. I was watching James Hughes' first live stream ever.
Oh, really?
He was doing like an FAQ. Like he had a couple of questions that were submitted, and like he was doing it really well for like half an hour. And then like he goes and looks into camera and is like, "Dude, this is so exhausting. Like, how do you guys do it?" Like I come off of like doing 6 hours of streaming for Eternal Weekend. We're like, yeah,
easy.
It can be exhausting at times, sure.
But yeah, that's my recent Magic, I think. Fun stuff. Yeah. I've been dying to like get back into the trenches of Legacy though.
There are so many opportunities, right?
Yeah.
I think last episode we talked a lot about the Eternal Weekend in Europe and the Eternal Weekend in Japan, about the results and what was going on there. So today we want to talk about the Eternal Weekend in North America, but also like we got the data for all 3 Eternal Weekends combined, and we'll shoot it in right before, because there was also a 300 player tournament taking place in Italy that like at this point, like that, we're so oversaturated with Legacy tournaments and content for the end of the year that this is just like almost a footnote, like another 4 seasons happening. And Matt Brown actually took it down, right?
Hell yes, he did. Go Matt. This is especially important because he got a ELM qualification off this. And
did he steal the Italian one?
Yes, exactly. Because last time...
Is he going to wear like an Italian shirt?
No, fuck no. He's going to be like, England. Because last time I ran an ELM qualifier in London, it was stolen by Italians coming over. So we've stolen it back.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So Matt, love you. Stole it back from the Italians, from the biggest qualifier they have as well. So let's go.
You know, he played Green Post, Draft Post.
Yeah,
Remember when, like, right before Eternal Weekends, we were talking about this, like, as one of the rogue picks, one of the dark horses.
Yeah.
It could actually go all the way.
And here it is, taking down a 300-player event. It's really good. It's really, really good. I find it one of the hardest decks like I've played in the format ever, though. Like every time I look at it, because I do like it a lot, but it's just you sequence like your turn 2 land wrong and you lose on turn 6 because of it. It's super hard.
It's already a thing in Legacy, and I think even more so in Green Post. Mm-hmm. And I've watched some players like who are really good with the deck play it, and also some players who were just like really good Magic players but not necessarily good with the deck. Mm-hmm. And the difference is just like night and day, even though like somebody might be really good, but like this deck is presenting a lot of puzzles and challenges that you might not be as familiar with otherwise.
For sure.
And
I think this is one of the decks
beauty of it.
In the format that rewards knowing your macro plan in every matchup, maybe more than anything else.
I like how macro plan sounds so much more advanced than strategy.
or your strategy in every matchup. You can say that, but macro plan sounds
macro
cool.
plan, I like that.
Yeah, but like you need to. This is true for every deck. Like I'm not trying to say this is the only one, but especially with Cloud Post, you need to know how you win the game in this matchup because you have so many tutors in this deck. You need to be like, okay, my win con against X deck is repeating Glacial Chasm, copying it with what's it called, Stage, bringing it back maybe, but you can't do that against a deck like Dragon Stompy because they might Blood Moon you one turn. You need to know what angles you can actually build towards because the decks, tutors and land drops build towards a certain end game, but you need to know that end game like really ahead of time. This is why I say making your land drops in the right order can be really punishing, because copying the wrong thing, or just not getting the 6 mana you need for a Titan on turn 4 or something, or the Green Sun. I don't know. I always find like this one, you need to know your win con. Like against Painter, they can be like, okay, well, I can't be comboed, so I need to just respect their combo a little bit enough, but I also just need to, ramp up and play some big idiots and stuff.
The best part with Painters, like when you can sense that they drew the run of like Ulamog or Emrakul or whatever they have, and you're like, I can almost feel it. And they try to sit there and like play it cool, and you're like, you know what? Might as well. And then they concede.
Yeah. Make them have it.
Yeah. By the way, also like really cool tech in here. There's one of Echoing Deeps.
Yes, this is a new card, right? What does it do?
Yeah. It's a land. It taps for a colorless mana, but you may also have it come into play as a copy of any land in any graveyard, except it's still a cave in addition to its other types. I guess the cave part doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's a weird way of like having another Vesuva, I guess, except you copy something in a graveyard.
This gives the deck so much more play into some matchups. It's actually... I'm not a post expert at all, so maybe they'll be like, actually, it was quite bad. But the fact that you could, like, against a graveyard deck, for example, go turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 Bog you, turn 3 sack the Bog, get Echoing Depths, Bog you a second time, I find like the second Bog can be massive. Or if you need to sack a Glacial Chasm after it's gone off, and then you go and get Echoing Deeps and it's a new one. I feel like this just gives you so many new angles just for one drop. It's actually quite amazing. And otherwise, it's still just, comes to play and taps for...
I think on some level, like a lot of matchups, they revolve around like forcing the opposed player to, use one of their key cards, whether it's like Bog or like Tabernacle, and then like you deal with it. And then this one comes around. It's just like, you know what? I get a second one. It's just like, blah, blah.
That's exactly a thing in the Painter versus post matchup. Forcing out the Bog is a huge part of that matchup. But here... having a second copy of it is terrifying. I don't know how to play it anymore.
There's probably like some hilarious lines where you actually copy something out of the opponent's graveyard and then you go crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how often that actually comes up, but I want to see it. I'm all here for it.
Maybe a Saga, go get a
Wasteland, something.
Yeah. This is really cool. For one card, I think it brings a ton.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. We also see a Morlock in the sideboard, which is cool.
Yeah, that's the one that actually makes it so that you can't really get properly Blood Moon, right? That's the thing. Yeah, that's actually the first card you talked about when you told me that the matchup was not good for Painter, because I thought it was like pretty good for Painter. And then like you went really deep and explained the matchup to me, and after I came out of it, I was like, dude, I never want to play Painter again.
The other thing is they kind of smartened up and have Dismembers in the sideboard. That's become quite stock. Frustratingly, I think it's a lot more for Troll of Khazad-dûm, because Troll is a 6/5, but it's like huge EV / splash damage for Magus as well.
It just makes so much. They also have so much life gain, right? So
yes,
it feels pretty good.
So that's cool.
So there's a lot more to see in that event, but I guess we don't really have time to go too deep into it.
There's run through the top 8, just say what's there though.
Sure. I'll take the next one. So we got in second place, we got Vincenzo Cusentha on Grixis Dalva. Third, fourth place, we got Andrea Riva on 5-color Uro control, as you would expect out of Italy. And fourth place of shared fourth place, Alessandro Boscaini on Cradle Control.
Should I point out this list is quite different to usual?
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty cool. This is why I wanted to just go through it, because this is like what you expect. It has the Fiend Artisans and stuff, but it has 4 Grief, 3 Troll of Khazad-dûm, 4 Reanimates, and a main deck Progenitus is quite unusual. 3 Grist. Yeah.
This is just like at this point, I keep calling this like new age Nick Fit or something, because like, come on.
This
like,
is the Rock.
The Rock. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's the Rock. This is like Maverick meets the Rock. Like if you took this and you told me that this originated out of elves, you're like, this is.
It's definitely far from elves. There is not a single elf in it, so there we go.
It makes me wonder whether there's like any other green approach to like abusing Gaia's Cradle, or it doesn't even need to be green, right? Maybe like. Yeah, okay, I'm reading too much into it. Like some goblin deck. The problem with goblins is it kills you before Cradle becomes relevant.
Yeah. You could try affinity decks or something, but I think what Newton's done with the archetype was really cool, like recognizing how insane Gaia's Cradle is, and then just it took a long time to find get to a different kind of shell where it's really really abused and stuff. But I like this. It's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen Reanimate and Grief kind of thrust in the shell multiple times, and I know Newton is not a fan, and other people have said it's good here, good, bad here, blah, blah, blah. But hey, top 4.
It's only a matter of time until like they cut natural orders. It's down to 2 in this one.
I don't think natural order can go.
Yeah, I also don't think it can go. Because like you need that unfair I win button.
There's actually no Crater Hoof in this either.
I'm loving it.
It's just Progenitus or Atraxa.
Atraxa, yeah.
I have to feel like Crater Hoof is better than Progenitus, but hey, they took forward and I didn't.
You didn't even try, right?
I didn't even try.
Dude. playing your weird vintage events.
Yeah,
by the way,
exactly.
we should mention Kai is not here because Kai is actually, he's playing Magic up in the mountains, and I think he's also skiing, right?
Yes. Well, actually, we said we didn't want him, and then he went skiing.
I totally realized, like, everybody must be like, where's Kai? Why am I not talking? Okay, so actually we should mention this, like, 40 minutes into the podcast. December and beginning of January are a little rough because Kai has to go, like, back to Japan, and he also has to go to France, and he has to go to the mountains. And that made it a little tight to find a proper place in time to record, but we made it work today. After you had to like raid IKEA yesterday, right?
Yeah, sorry. I was like, we can go to IKEA in an hour and be in and out.
Actually, you know what's even more hilarious? That actually I thought, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Like go to IKEA in London, go shopping, come back all within an hour. I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna be here waiting for you. It's like, Julian, like what? I think it was like 2.5 hours, and you were still rushing, right?
it was like 2. We were pretty quick in and out of there, but it was just traffic there and back, and
did you
just
like
London
ride
things.
your car, or did you like own a Jeep?
Yeah,
or something?
car.
Okay. I didn't even know that was a thing in London. So
Yeah, you don't drive very much, but I don't know. We were pretty fast in there, but it's just taking so much time. Yeah.
But you got your like Billy or whatever you want.
I needed some shelves, I needed a light, I needed some desk accessories and some shelves. Yes,
Cool.
very IKEA things.
Cool. But yeah, that's the top 4. Is there anything else you want to highlight there?
No, the rest we got Full Color Uro, Boros Stumpy, Dragon Stumpy, and Rug Delver. Pretty normal things. Rodrigo top aiding as usual. That's pretty cool with initiative.
Yeah, I think like his accountant must be like, you know what, is this like a proper job? Like you pay like taxes on this?
Yeah.
I
Cool.
guess it works the same way it works in Germany. Like this is so interesting to me because I once asked my professor for like, well, actually it was something else related to that, but I asked him like, do we like need to pay taxes on selling Magic cards online? He was like, in Germany you only pay like taxes for that kind of stuff, like if you do it for a living, but if you just like, it's basically a garage sale and it just happens to make money for you, then you don't pay taxes on that. Whereas I think like in the US, for example, you just like report your income and then you pay taxes on it. Whereas here, it's very much about where the money comes from. And I think at some point, like if you earn this much money on the regular as a Magic player, it might almost qualify as like being your job.
I hope not.
Yeah, of course not. Dragon Stompy, by the way, is there any kind of hope of there being some hilarious card in there?
I don't think there is. I know that they'll be playing the Bombardiers though, right?
4 copies of Trinisphere. Okay, that's pretty common these days, right?
Yeah, like you often see 2 at the most in the main. Yeah, that's true. I really like the inclusion of 2 unlicensed Hearse. I know it's pretty stock, but I always see people cutting it, and XJ just screams at the wall, says, "This is how you beat Delver and Tempo decks. Do not cut this card," and it's just really good. So I like the the
card is insanely annoying to play against when
yes,
you're
it is.
any kind. Like you don't even need to be a graveyard deck. It's just like straight up,
just good. Yeah.
Accidental use of the graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, like against initiative or something, it would be pretty slow and dead and things, but like it can still be a creature and whatever. Yeah, obviously we see 4 Broadside Bombardiers because that card is crazy.
And I saw somebody like on Twitter predict the card to actually go to like 50 ticks or something reasonably soon because apparently they cut it from treasure chests when it was only in there for a very short amount of time. And like I think it was Tim Akpinar, and he talked about like he doesn't know whether they will like that was a mistake and they will re-add it soon, so don't take my word for it. But as of now, they removed it from treasure chests and it's sitting at like 25 ticks or something. So he was like, dude, this might be like the thing to go for if you want to make money.
I just wouldn't go for those angles because Daybreak have shown to be pretty proactive in trying to help these things out. So
the thing is, like, I would believe it if it was like a 2 ticks or something, and then they like actually, but if it was a 2 ticks, then a lot of people would already have them. I don't know, like it's kind of weird. But yeah, so this is 4 Seasons, one of the coolest, best events that you can play in Europe. Definitely check it out if you're ever in the area of Europe. But of course, the big thing, the biggest legacy tournament ever since GP Bologna 2019 just went down the other week in beautiful Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania. Dude, I did commentary on this. I put like post-it notes all around my screen with like Pittsburgh facts. Did you know that the Big Mac was invented in Pittsburgh? Wow. Did you know that the first game of bingo was played in Pittsburgh?
But you didn't even know it was in Pennsylvania.
I did know that. I wanted to say Pittsburgh, Ohio, but because it sounded right, but it actually doesn't. Did you know that Pittsburgh claims to be the city with the most bridges, but like it doesn't even have like.
I did know that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, they say that, but
I
like
really.
Hamburg, Germany actually has the most bridges in the world, and they have 4 times as many
No,
bridges
Hamburg's
as Pittsburgh.
fake. Hamburg doesn't.
Oh, Hamburg is fake. Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know. It still has more bridges.
No, definitely not.
Have you been to Hamburg?
Yeah.
It's where the Beatles played the first concert. Like I'm a walking like Lexington.
I was at the gig actually.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I saw you. Yeah, I was pretty sure.
No, you weren't there though.
You were the guy playing the drums or something, right? That's why they said Ringo Starr is not the best drummer in the Beatles.
Oh, that's why I'm that one. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, Pittsburgh, Ohio, one of the best places to play Legacy the other week. And dude, Legacy in North America has a new king. And this is like the coolest guy I've ever seen. Like we're talking, of course, about TK Lord Thunder Knight. Strawn. His last name is spelled Strachan, and production told me he pronounces his last name Strawn, so TK Strawn,
cool.
Lord Thunder Knight. We had him on earlier. Like he was literally wearing a crown. Like take that kind of confidence. Like you take it into a tournament, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna wear the crown before the event. I'm gonna become the king of this format, and you know
love
it.
Love it, love it, love it.
Dude, check out his Twitter, by the way. He's such a wholesome guy. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. But like when I was talking to other people, they were like, dude, like TK is the man. Like he's so cool. And it makes so much sense to me because he said he's actually a Maverick player. Mm-hmm. And he
Apparently,
literally was like,
he's
you
just
know
like
what?
a diehard Maverick player, and then was like, you know what? Fine, I'll play these blue cards.
I show you how to, you blue players, you have like no idea.
It's
like,
so easy to play blue. I'll show you.
Exactly. And then he just like takes that. By the way, we should mention that he played, it was like a Triumph of St. Catherine. Was it 4-color or was it even just like 3-color? It was 4-color, right?
4-color, just no red.
4-color, no red, which is like so uncommon these days, right?
Yeah. I would just say this is a straight up mid range deck. So it's like.
And he calls it a mid range deck.
Yeah, yeah.
I was actually like, yesterday, as I was waiting for you, I was listening to, he was on Eternal Turtles, so definitely check out Eternal Turtles. I listened to like the first 40 minutes of it, and he even talks about, right, how this is straight up a mid-range deck. And he won so many, like, they talked about, does count stealing content? Like, it's just like more like spreading the word. He talked about how by far the most games are actually won by Triumph, and then sometimes like random Murktide. And the angle of grinding them out is up the beanstalk, which is like, I guess, the draw of a lot of like blue, I am a control player mages. That's just like not very big. It was like 10-15% of games that actually came down to this. He said like this is straight up like a mid-range deck.
Just
you play
Triumph
a mid-range deck, and then you have like some leg up in the end game, in the late game, if it comes to that. And that was just like so refreshing to hear, because I think a lot of people there are often like, no, I just like sit back, I do nothing. And yeah, he played it like a mid-range deck, and he won it like a mid-range deck. The mid-range master taking on another mid-range deck.
Yeah. Like Triumph, I gotta confess, I was hyped about it at the beginning, and it looked good. And then I played with it in completely different shells, and was like, oh, I found it pretty awkward. And then because it's not online, everyone's just like kind of died off on it a bit. And then I just thought it's kind of crappy. Like it didn't really do anything in paper otherwise. But this shows the frustrations with not having stuff on Magic Online, because it is good. Just, like clearly, he's said it's been amazing for him to win the tournament, and it's just won the biggest tournament in years. And so I've been completely wrong about it, apparently. But now everyone's here twiddling their thumbs, being like, why can't we just play this goddamn card?
You know, TK actually, he put up a petition on it, I believe, like change.org, about like, hey, Wizards and Daybreak and 40K and everything, Games Workshop, get this card on Magic Online, like right now.
Let's put that in the show notes, because I've shared it and signed it as well. It's
okay, I gotta do that still. Okay, let's put it in the show notes.
But
everybody who's listening, if you want to see some more miracling, like if you like, is this even a miracle?
Yep.
Actually, it doesn't count as, oh yeah, it has miracle text. Awesome.
If you want to see a miracle and this card comes on Magic Online, look at the show notes.
Yeah, they should put some like flavor text of TK up there.
Yeah. Do you want to give us a run through of the rest of the list, though?
Ooh, yeah. Well, Kai and I did commentary for the first, was it like 6 rounds? I don't even remember. And then we did like more commentary on the second. Like they split it in 2 days. It was so many players.
Yeah.
And before we go, like in a moment, we'll go into the win rate of the combined 3 Eternal Weekends. But just talking about Eternal Weekend North America right now, we got first place, DK Strawn, playing 4-color mid-range. Second place, I Oh, this is very bad because it only gives me the nickname of players. MTG top 8. Give me the proper names of players. It's Jay Wachkowski, who won last year's Eternally weekend in North America.
So I got to say, like, so he's playing Grixis Delver now and Blue Red Delver last time. I just don't want Delver to win. That's where I am with the format these days. I'm just like, boo, Delver, boo, because I'm a little bit bored of it. But, like, almost getting back to back, I couldn't choose who I wanted to win the finals. It was so close because going back to back is just insane. Like, and getting to the final is honestly insane as well. So I've been surprised by how few people have, like, I think realized this. But Jay getting to the winning last year in the finals now is crazy impressive. That is so good. So shout out to Jay. I'm massively impressed.
Yeah, and I think he even, like, didn't he talk about in his top 8 profile or something that he got, like, imposter syndrome and something? Like, dude, if you got imposter syndrome, like, what should the rest of us say?
I mean, he was playing his goddamn Ponder. He won last year. Like,
that's so cool, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw, like, somebody show the Dragon Rage channeler, the TK one, and apparently, like, I don't know if he gifted it to a cube or something, but he basically gave it to a friend for his cube.
I think he traded it for a bunch of jewels. Like,
he traded it?
Okay, he traded it so he can play this deck he won in paper.
Oh, he didn't own it yet.
I believe so, yeah.
I guess that's the best way to win your deck.
That's what I took from it. He said I can play this deck without borrowing now, so
that's
makes
cool.
sense.
Yeah, I guess I can easily buy the deck now.
I love it. I love that. That's such a brilliant outcome.
Dude, you might actually need to help me with the names because my internet is breaking down right now.
Okay.
And actually, the other ones don't have. Oh, they have their proper names. Okay, we can keep going.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, we got Jay in second place playing Grixis Diver. Not a big surprise considering that he basically played like Blue Red Diver last year, and that one had a card band, and now we're sitting on this one. Is there anything interesting? Not two stifles. Oh yeah, two stifles. And I think he didn't he mention on Twitter that like he got people left and right with those.
Yeah,
two stifles?
he said it was really good for him. So there's also I mean, stifle when it's unexpected can get people. When it's expected, everyone plays around it, but
it's so annoying when, like, when you play against it with Painter and like you're losing the tempo game and you gotta win with the combo but you gotta combo twice and it's just like it takes so many resources and sometimes even like Ancient Tomb activations. You hate Stifle, so I can very much like see how that would be a good card.
Yeah, I hate Stifle. I love it. It's a great card.
I love playing with Stifle.
Yeah,
I hate playing against Stifle.
I love
it's one of the most beautiful cards in Legacy.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that he has two. 2 feels like the perfect number because it's not a great card. It's definitely not aged amazing, but like one of them in the right spot at the right time can just swing games, especially if it's not on people's radar. So you don't want to be like, sitting with 3 of them in your hand ever or anything. So 2 is a really nice number.
Cool. Yeah. So one of the semi-finalists, we got Cass Lynn playing Cradle Control, and I gotta say, at this point, I'm actually out of the loop. Like, I know this is a thing, but why are we playing Invigorate?
I believe it's just to counter like lightning bolts and stuff.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess that's a lot clearer. I thought it was like some super next level stuff where you invigorate your Fiend Artisan or something, and I don't know if that does something.
No.
Oh, there's nothing in there, right?
Unless I'm being just stupid here, and we'll look really stupid afterwards. I believe it's to like counter removal spells, like damage-based removal spells. Or Bowmasters or whatever. Like, it's a free spell, and you don't really care if your opponent gains 3 life, so it's like a free counter. It's like a mutagenic growth, but actually saves 1/1s against Bolt.
Okay, I was like, maybe if you have like a big Fiend Artisan and they don't block and then you kill them, but actually it's just like +1 damage if you play it for free.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, gotcha.
Or you can like, because the deck uses combat a lot, I guess you can block and invigorate and stuff. If it's not on people's radar, it's probably quite effective. I can see it really.
It also makes it so that the opponent might be like hesitant to just like use their removal spell because they know at any point you could have invigorate.
Yeah,
and then that's like pretty annoying.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of a little bit similar to Stifle, where if it's not on people's radar, they'll like not even walk into it. It's the wrong phrase, but it's like it'll do what you want it to do.
Okay, so in the other semifinalist we got here, dude, it says Mr. Fringe 89 on MTG Goldfish as well. I'm so sorry, man. I even saw your name. I saw your name as we were doing commentary on you, and I think I should really find out your name. How does it like not say your proper name anywhere? You deserve credit, man. But you might go into the deck as I try to find that semifinalist's name. Or I should?
I'm trying to find it. Sorry.
Oh, okay, then I'll talk about the deck.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I didn't notice. Yeah. But yeah, please by all means talk about the deck because Painter, baby.
Yeah, Painter, we talk about win rates, but Painter has been insane this weekend. Like we were looking at the last round of Swiss, and the last round of Swiss had like 4 Painters still in contention for top 8. 2 made it, 2 lost their win and ins. One of them like could have like gone in on tiebreakers had they won.
Imagine if 4 Painter made top 8.
Dude, that would be insane. Like people would be calling for like what would we even ban? Like you obviously you don't ban Painter. Like,
you can't ban anything. It's so easy to fight.
Yeah, there's just like nothing.
But that's crazy.
But yeah, Mr. Fringe, whom Callum is still trying to find out the name, something with S says.
I've never used MTG Melee in my life, and I'm trying.
You really shouldn't look up on a Melee. You really, because that's where the stupid name is coming from.
Oh, I see. Fine. Well, okay.
And by stupid, I just mean we want your real name, but it just keeps giving us Mr. Fringe 89, and I think he's even on the Painter Discord. So I want to shout him out even more, but it just like doesn't work. Okay, so this is a straight up Painter deck. I want to say it's splashing white as most of the decks in the tournament have done. I think 30 people have played Boros Painter, and then like 7 or something have played other variants. We'll talk about those in a moment. Another card that you can't get on Magic Online, Canoptech Scarab Swarm. That's the 4-mana thingy that removes the opponent's graveyard, and you get a 1/1 flying insect for each, I think, artifact or land that you removed. So that's another cooler one that we might get in Magic Online at some point.
Please.
Other than that, it's pretty straightforward, right? I think it continues that trend that we've already seen in the past of cutting back on blasts. I think you also did that in some of your new iterations of Painter. Yep. This one is only playing 4 copies of blasts. I think by now that's gold standard-ish. Used to be 5, now we're down to 4. I guess we're playing.
We've seen the full swing. Like when Expressive Iteration was legal, it was 7 or 8. Now we've got the swing down and down and down. I think this is the worst. I think we said it on the last podcast, actually. This is probably the worst blasts or pirate blasts have been in maybe ever. Maybe ever. Literally straight up ever. Yeah. Apart from, like, I don't know, there could have been... I'm trying to think of something else, but no. Yeah, I think it probably is ever. And I believed Painter's strength was often hinged on how good blasts are in the format. At least the mono-red versions. I think I even wrote this in the primer that I started. I was like, Painter is good when blue is good, and that's a pretty simple way of looking at it. But the deck is holding up. Like, I mean, people play more. Like Robert Lightwalker is still playing 6 or 7 blasts, and he's doing as amazing as ever because he's just a wizard. But I like going to 4. I'm even like saying play 2 or 3 these days because it's just, you need to have the Painter in play and you don't care as much. It just gets pitched to Fury so much, in my opinion. So I like these going down to 4. Yeah, I can see that. What I've even been doing is I sometimes cut Painter, like especially against tempo decks. I actually often cut like 1 or 2 Painters because I feel like the mid-range game is so strong. Yeah. In the grindstone as well, right? Especially if they don't play like Prismatic Ending or something like that, you can do that. Yeah. So you play even more of a mid-range game while they still need to respect the combo. And I guess we already talked a lot about how that makes a big difference. Yeah. It's just like that's my jam for sure. Yeah. But so yeah, I think he's in the Painter Discord, and he said that the white splash was pretty good for him as well. 4th Earlingus, and swords pretty much. Yeah, swords especially, right? Yeah. Like a lot of people who, like I'm very much, I feel like the prophet of 4th Erlingus, even though like I didn't come up with it, but as soon as I liked it, like I was very vocal about Everybody
that.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's more than here to stay. That kind of just like so good. Yeah, I agree. At this point, what I noticed is people were talking about maybe adding even more of a white splash and playing a single basic planes. That's I'm playing basic planes and Touch the Spirit Realm at the moment. Yeah. I've seen. I think Peter Plank. By the way, is somebody like building their IKEA shelf in the background? Yeah, if you want to pause here for a bit, I don't mind. There's someone in a flat next to us. Next to you? Yeah, it's fucking like knock on the wall. Something. But yeah, I think it's someone in the flat next to me. That's annoying. Okay, well, somebody is that Hammer time? Somebody's playing Hammer time over there. You're painting here. They're playing Hammer. You're like a whole apartment block of artists and artisans. Somebody's like sacrificing creatures to get even bigger creatures. That's how you do it. Somebody's like working miracles. This is the center of the Legacy universe. But yeah, so is Painter, especially right now. A deck that almost put 4 copies in the top 8. Ended up putting 2 copies in the top 8. The only deck with 2 copies in the top 8. And we talked so much about Painter. I'm working on a primer right now. I can't really tell you when it's going to be finished, but I'm already pretty far into it. So that one's going to be out at some time in the future. Hell yeah. Why don't we talk about the other copy of Painter here? Like we talked about the 2 semi-finalists right now. then out of all the quarterfinalists, we had the OG Painter player. Like I guess Caleb to me is like the OG Painter player, but Jack Kitchen is very much up there, right? Especially for this version of Painter, Strawberry Shortcake.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, this is. Callum, you want to introduce like what Strawberry Shortcake is?
I will do, but I also say Jack is the reason I got into Painter.
Is he?
Yeah. So I love the guy to bits, and he's always been so chill, and he's just the coolest customer in the world. But watching him play like Legacy Sundays on SCGs, that's how I got into the deck. Because I was always playing blue years ago. I was always like here and there, but something about Painter was just like, man, how can this like almost mono red deck like play this amazing control game, and like there's so many angles, and as we know the deck has now, and it's still carried on. But seeing him mostly on coverage and SCGs got me into the deck and piqued an interest. So seeing him top 8 is just absolutely awesome. I was so ecstatic watching it along. He was like, posting his updates in the Discord. I was like, yes, go Jack. So Strawberry Shortcake is because Shortcake is made of red and white. So it has
I
a
don't
white.
even know what Shortcake is, by the way.
Shortcake is
it's cake,
kind of
right?
It's like a strawberry cake. Yeah. And so it's always historically played some Enlightened Tutors. So Enlightened Tutor, like, it doesn't really like mesh with the more mid-range style of the list that we just talked about and stuff, for example. But this Shortcake is like a lot more concentrated on the combo. So Enlightened Tutor just lets you find your grindstone or your painter, or it can find some targets. Like, it can find LED if you need it as well to combo quickly. So
he's got a one-off LED in there. Oh, he does. Oh my god, that's insane.
Oh, yeah. so this build is just a lot better at comboing. It's gonna.
So you go like turn 1 Painter or something. Can you actually turn 2? Like, let's say you go turn 1 Painter, turn 2.
You can just turn 1, like Ancient Tomb Pedal, LED, Grindstone, Painter.
Yeah, but that requires you to have basically everything, right?
The deck can totally turn 2 quite a lot because it has 3 Grindstones with the 4th in the sideboard for cards as well. So
how much fast mana does he play?
He
plays 2 Lotus Petals
and 3 Monkeys, baby.
So 5. Okay, that's 1 more than I do right now.
Yeah, so there's 2 Lotus Petals, 3 Monkeys, and a Mox Opal as well, and then the LED. So, and 21 lands with 6 soul lands. So it is faster. It just has less interaction. So basically, it's better at comboing. It is a little bit faster. It also plays 7 blasts, 4 Pyro Blasts and 3 Elemental Blasts because it's a bridge. So it's just trying to combo you. It's going to be weaker against the decks with like Emrakul and stuff in, so Sneak Attack and Cloud Post, but it's going to combo in basically every single other game. Sometimes it can win with Khan, but so it's looking to assemble the combo. And I would say it's a bit harder to play as well. Like, it's, lots of bits and pieces here, or I mean for the combo, but it just really rewards skill of the archetype, and he's played it for a million years now. So it's not surprising to see him do well, but I think the mid-range versions are fairly accepted as being a little bit stronger. Mm-hmm. So it's just really, really cool to see a different take here. So he's still got 2 Imperial Recruiter as well. The classic 3 Goblin Welder, that's been a pretty much staple of Shortcake 3 Welding for a long time.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's not that uncommon.
Okay.
And then with 2 Enlightened Tutors, he's got like a Blood Moon and a Cenarian Bridge to search for as well.
I mean, it's pretty interesting. You also got like 4 copies of Lightning Bolt in the sideboard. I guess that's a concession to like tempo decks.
Tempo decks, and I see him often. Okay, this is like for me just
Collector Oof, I guess.
Yeah, kind of as well. I don't know for sure because I just haven't played this version in a long time. But I know he used to bring it against Control when.
But he brings in Lightning Bolt against Control.
When what's that card called? Sylvan Library was really, really popular.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah. But he used to stream sometimes, and I would just see him like triple bolt Control players out. It's pretty sweet.
Dude, I'm loving that. And then like you kept it in against me, and then like you turn around, you're like, no, I sided it in against you.
yes.
I know your greed, and I will punish you for it. Oh, that's great.
I know that he's a big fan of bringing like surgical against fair decks to like exile swords as well, so it really punishes people using swords early against the goblins, which I think is a very, very common thing to do against the mid-range versions, which you need to do. Whereas this one, the goblins are very, very good, don't get me wrong, but they are just like extra combo pieces essentially and working towards the combo, whereas in the other mid-range ones, they're really threats to grind with Phyrexian Dragon Engine and stuff. And
it's funny you mentioned that, by the way, because like the other day on the way to work, I was thinking about like what people do wrong against Painter, and I've come to the conclusion that a lot of people over respect Goblin Welder, and
Absolutely.
they really shouldn't respect Goblin Welder as much. Like at least Goblin Engineer does something on its own, right, most of the time. But Goblin Welder on its own literally doesn't do anything. And I mean, yeah, you will still snipe it with, let's say, an bowmaster, but do you really want to like swords it if there's like nothing else going on? There are many situations where you'd rather swords the goblin token or favor the mirror breaker.
I think when it gets killed turn 1 or 2, I'm like 80% of the time happy. When it dies turn 4 onwards, I'm unhappy. It's
sometimes, later on when it dies, that you feel like they know what you're about to do on the next turn and they want to like proactively counter it. And then it makes a lot of sense. But if it's just like trades early on, you're like, okay, cool, let's just, I'm the Ancient Tomb deck. Like, as long as we trade even on mana, I might actually just like pull ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And cool.
So everyone, Strawberry Shortcake rules. Love it.
And speaking of deck specialists, we got another quarterfinalist, and that one's Brian Cook.
Oh, D&T, yes.
Yeah. They call him Brian Let Him Cook. I love that. That should be his new nickname. Co-host of the Eternal Glory podcast. And it says on MTG Top 8, Besiege the Storm. Come on, guys. Like,
this is the epic storm.
This is the epic storm. This is not Besiege the Storm. Like, who came up with this name?
I don't know.
But yeah, when you look at this, actually, it's missing one of the most iconic cards of Legacy ever. The card that was called for being banned like so many times by some people. Rite of Flame. How is there no Rite of Flame?
I mean, I guess just cut down on red cards because you just want the black mana. So Tez didn't always play Cabal Rituals.
There's Cabal Ritual. Yeah, because like he fully committed to the new life.
Yeah, because this angle, the deck's angle, is for Beseech the Mirror and a Song of Creation. So that's how it goes off very often. So the engines of the deck is Beseech for Song of Creation and then 3 Galvanic Relay as well. So the angle really is just Song of Creation. So
I'm actually looking at the sideboard because you also got like 4 copies of Burning Wish to like tie things together. And there's actually one card I don't know, Consign Oblivion. Did you know what that one does?
It's just a 1 and a blue bounce spell. That's a sorcery you can search for with Burning Wish.
Oh, because it's like the sorcery is the Aftermath thingy.
Yeah.
And you can still get it with Burning Wish, I guess, because the Consign part is an instant.
Yes, but the Oblivion one is like a black discard spell or something, but that's a sorcery. So
didn't we like play, what's it called, Eye to Nowhere or something? You remember that?
Yeah, that was the one from Kamigawa, like
yeah, exactly, right.
And then Void Snare came out, and it was like, big upgrade.
That was
Storm.
so much better.
yeah.
Oh, cool. No, it's so cool. Like when you see like deck specialists, and I guess Brian would hate to be called as deck specialist. He literally went to the finals of an LPL. Or did he actually win the LPL? Dude, I don't even remember. It's been so many years. He might have actually won the entire LPL, and making it a point never to play the Epic Storm ever.
Mm-hmm.
During the entire tournament. So he's far beyond just like
actually.
Yeah, he's far beyond just like a deck specialist. No, but
Brian's just insane at Legacy. He's always been he's played it for so many years, so he has so much experience. But he has a way of thinking about things. I think he's very methodical with the way he thinks, and he's very mechanic. And he'll have a list and he'll have thought of all the things. So yeah, he's definitely not a deck specialist. He's just a Legacy specialist that happens to have made a deck and he loves to bits.
Also, from everything I've like seen and read, especially about this tournament from him, like he's not afraid to make the right call, even if he might end up looking like stupid, which is always like a quality I very much appreciate in a player. Like when 100%. I see people play and people are like, oh, this player is so bad, and which people sometimes do, especially if like somebody hasn't won something. They're like, oh, this is just a bad player. And sometimes I feel like, dude, you like have no idea. Like they made the right play and they looked stupid at the moment, but I think in the long run they're like gonna come out ahead of you, like, I don't know, 7 out of 10 times or something.
Absolutely. And is this the game 3? Do you want to say
what happened? This is, yeah, exactly. You can read my mind, right?
Yep, I loved it. I completely agree with his keep here, but I think a lot of people questioned it.
I can't piece together the exact keep, but basically he was up against Cradle Control.
I can help you a bit. It was buy you 2 Thoughtseize and no action.
Yeah. He basically had like no combo action, but he had like this reactive thingy of like this card, and people were like, "What? Just like that? They're gonna commit to the board and they're gonna kill you." And that's kind of how it played out. But he later posted this on Twitter, and like he went over why he kept that hand, and he made it a point that maybe not the entire matchup, but a huge part of the matchup, especially in the early game, revolves around Collector Hoof, because Collector Hoof is close to shutting down the deck. Like, of course, there's still lines to victory, but it's a real big problem. And by keeping the hand that he did keep, like, he makes it so that, they can't quickly natural order you. They cannot send it for Collector Hoof and everything. Even if they have Collector Hoof in hand, you also get that one covered.
He said you can double Thoughtseize before they get to cast a Zenith for it, right?
A relevant spell, right?
Yeah.
That's just like, even if they have this card, like, you still got it.
He also has like, so much action in the deck that, odds are you draw one in a few draw steps. But
yeah. And he also knows, right? This is not the deck of kill you on turn 2 or turn 3. This is a deck that can technically kill you on turn 3, but it's really only happening ever like so often.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, he didn't win that game, but I very much agreed with his reasoning and why he kept that hand. So shoutouts to him.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Love it.
So another quarterfinals, we got Wyatt Gibson. Wyatt played Cephalid Breakfast, the deck that just won't die.
Everyone said it was dead. Where's it gone?
Yeah, well, it didn't really do too hot on the Eternal Weekends altogether, but yeah, it's the version that's basically here to stay for now, which is the heavily dedicated combo version that plays Orm's. Like, Orm's Chant was just like such a smart addition to the deck.
It does have 4 Bowmasters.
Oh, does it really?
Yes. This is why I thought it was interesting. It's a proper Esper version. So it's not the all... It's got 2 days and 2 Orm's Chant. Orm's Chant is just insane in the deck, so I love keeping those in. But it has Retrofit Foundry and 4 Bowmasters, so it's kind of got Grind Pyre as well.
Oh, it has Retrofit Foundry as well?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh dude, this is melting my brain.
It's kind of a mix though, because there's no swords or prismatic ending, which you often saw main deck.
Yeah, I gotta make room for that.
There's no Staff the Storyteller, but Bowmasters is just very good.
Oh, that's not even like Pact of Negation, right?
No.
I've seen the deck run Pact of Negation sometimes, like in the sideboard.
Yeah.
We're not even doing that.
No, that's like very all in. It has more dazes often as well, and obviously you wouldn't play Retrofit Foundry. You'd probably play more Shuko.
The Retrofit Foundry Pact of Negation deck.
Yeah, but no, this is somewhere in the middle. I think it's still. It's pretty normal stockish stuff, but it is a very powerful deck. It does threaten to kill you with like Disruption turn 2 or punish decks that keep like very reactive slow hands.
It's the kind of deck I just don't want to play against. It's so funny, like a lot of people that I talk to, they feel like competent in most of their matchups, but then Cephalid Breakfast is like their blind spot where I feel like, you know what, I'm not really going to play against it. It's just
Breakfast, we've said this before for sure, but like Breakfast and Painter share a lot of similarities in how to play against it, because when you play 2 reactive, they just run you over with mid-range, but if you play, 2 aggressively, they'll just combo you. So like actually playing the deck yourself to recognize play patterns from the other side of the table is the best way you can practice against the deck, because then you'll see, because you played like this land drop turn 2, I think this signals blah blah, and then you can kind of play more aggressively into windows where you wouldn't otherwise normally try and open yourself up to the combo.
Yeah.
So,
I want to say more than any deck, this actually I was gonna say it abuses the information disparity, but actually the deck is not that capable of abusing stuff like compared to like Elves or Painter or stuff where like if the opponent hesitates, like a single turn can put you up like 3 or 4 cards. It can't really do that. But I mean, we've all been there where we feel like I really want to play this thing on my main phase, and it taps me down to like 1 interactive spell, even though I have like 2 or 3 available. And you're like, just gonna fade this 1 turn, and like, how bad could it be? And then
going turn 1 Nomads on core is terrifying for all of the format, because you're like, is this just bait a nothing burger? Like, honestly, half the time it's just like whatever. They don't have the illusionist, or they have like a step through to cycle next turn to get it for a turn 3. But turn 1 Nomads does demand a lot of respect if the opponent can give it.
Right?
It's
like literally the worst creature in the entire deck, and you're just like, I gotta fight over this. So come on.
So if you can respect it, I've given up respect to you quite a lot of the time, but that's how you lose sometimes.
The thing is, a lot of times I don't respect it like for the turn 2 kill, and if they have like, of course, depending on how your hand looks like, but it's similar to like how I used to always treat Infect, where I was like, guys, if you got the turn 2 kill, so be it. I'm not gonna like handicap myself for the rest of the game by like basically skipping my first 2 turns, just living in fear. And that's kind of how I treat Cephalid Breakfast, even though it feels like you can interact with it a little bit more. But yeah, I still don't like playing against it.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout outs to White, making top 8, also earning himself a copy of that Dragon Rage Channeler. And then to round out the top 8, you got Nick Ferraro playing Canadian Druid, they call it here, Rug Delver. It's
actually 4 color.
This is very different from everything we've seen ever since like Deathrite Chairman, I want to say, right?
It's just Rug with Bowmasters.
I mean, that's 4 color.
Yeah,
like, when's the last time we've seen a proper like 4 color Delver deck? Actually, it's not even Delver. It's a little bit more mid-rangey. It's got like DRC, Cresting Druid, Bowmaster, Murktide.
Yeah.
And then everything as you would expect, I guess.
It just looks like Delver to me, I'm going to be honest.
It's basically Delver, right? It's got 4 copies of Days and everything, Wastelands, 19 lands.
Yeah. But
do
cool.
you think like this is gonna? This by the way, 4-color deck plays 2 Price of Progress as you do.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. It's Delver. I've seen this pop up here and there. It's like it's okay. I think people have just gone to copy Rug, I guess, or like Blue Red Splash Questing Druid because mostly Juju Bean like winning European Eternal Weekend with it, and it's just done very well online and stuff. So, but I think there is this is the very classic 4-color Delver. It's a more powerful deck, but you open yourself up to more wastelands. So where do you want to be?
We had more time to go over like the top 16 as well, because like just look at all the killers that are in there. Like we got Ari Lex, there's like Theo Young, there's Alex Hatfield coming out of the Wordworks playing.
Hell yes.
Didn't he play some kind of paradoxical outcome deck actually?
No, he played High Tide.
What he's played? I thought no. He played paradoxical outcome. I'm pretty sure.
Oh really?
Yeah, he got top 32 playing because we had him on camera earlier, like in the day when Kai and I were doing commentary, and I'm trying I'm waiting for it to load. I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight, but like everything takes forever to load.
Fair enough.
But maybe you're going to be faster than me.
There
it is. Okay, got it here.
You're
okay.
right.
Yeah, he played paradoxical outcome. So 3 copies of PO, 2 copies of Transmute Artifact, Win Condition, Etherflux Reservoir, Candy Trail, which raised
Candy
a lot of
Trail
question.
says this is Tony Scaponi. This is built.
Yeah, I heard that. Like he was the one who kind of like put that in the deck.
Well, he built the deck as well, pretty much. And then
yeah, I guess that he very much put it in the deck.
Yeah. And then so he put Candy Trail in recently. Yeah.
This is actually kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I guess you got the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like basically, I'm looking at this. Like, what will people aim to counter? They will counter the ring.
And the POs.
Emery, POs. Like Emery is alright. Like you don't feel good countering Emery, right?
Yeah, I mean, often for sure. But like, this is a deck where I've watched Tony stream quite a lot, and he just like, he plays through all the interactions so well because he's like, yeah, well, I'll just play a Thoughtcast here because they're obviously leaving up this, and then I'll just play a Saga. Saga beats Win quite a lot as well. It's but the deck can just do crazy powerful things. This is one of those like, if someone's new to Legacy and you're like, show me some power. This is not as powerful as the pure artifact mud ones, no blue, but like this deck can do some super powerful things. So it's a
I'm
beautiful
looking
deck.
at the other names up there. Like there's Jarvis Yu.
Let's go Jarvis.
Jacob Murray rings a bell, right?
Jacob Murray. That's Lewinil.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sure. There's Bosch and Roll.
This
There's
guy called Ray
Mark
Duke.
Tobias, by the way, our pick to win the entire thing. He got top 64 playing Doomsday. I think he had like some insane maybe he might have reposted this Twitter thing because I ran the numbers. I think he posted something like he won like 3 die rolls out of 50 over all events. I was like, this is just like,
what?
Not so sure about that.
I wouldn't even say that if I won 0. I was like, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. But yeah, there's some insane killers up in there. Reed Duke, top 32. This is
Kaplan.
The place to be. Dave Kaplan, exactly.
Yeah.
That's just like way too many people. This is well, is it the who is who if it doesn't have Callum Smith? Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, right. I'd be down in like the rungs of the middle.
But yeah, this is such an amazing event. And
there's Michael Coyle. He's one of my favorites ever. Michael Coyle is Susurrus.
Oh, that's Susurrus?
Yeah.
Did he play like colorless?
Yeah, he's Mystic Forge.
Okay. Mystic Forge, exactly.
Goddamn
Dude,
right.
the bane of my existence.
There's that Sam Rukas guy down somewhere.
Some did pretty well for quite a while, but he got top 128.
Yeah,
playing
he
4 or
started
5 color
well,
control.
Yeah.
But that one's a scrub, right?
Yes.
He's not very good. Yeah, sure.
Cool.
But before we talk about anything else, especially like the win rates, big shout outs to Card Titan, because Card Titan not only like drastically increased the prize pool, I think they also did like best unpowered for vintage, if I'm correct.
Yes. Shout out to Toast, who lost his winning in with completely unpowered Moonstompy.
Wait, there was somebody who almost got there?
Yes, lost his winning in on camera.
Can you imagine how insane that would be? Like probably like the biggest vintage tournament in years, if not a decade or something.
Yep.
And you almost make top 8 playing unpowered?
Yeah, so sick. I was so sad when loss came in. It's like, oh.
So, like, what was the angle? Like, I guess, like, Moons and Nylus?
It was Moons, Maguses, 4 Null Rod Main, obviously, Trinispheres, I believe, and then 4 Broadside Bombardiers, baby. Yeah.
And then I guess everything you got against Graveyard decks on the sideboard or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it quickly, but I can't. Yeah. But, yeah, like, I guess, I don't remember it really, but there was a Mana Crypt, so that's the power, but no Moxen, no Lotus, obviously, nothing like that. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty insane, dude.
I guess
Dude,
just
love that so
the
much.
combo of Null Rod and Blood Moon just gets a lot of decks.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess even against some Bazaar decks, if you get a Trinisphere down, that's already like insane against them,
Yes,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
Like Trinisphere or just Blood Moon them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, no, I wanna play it.
Yeah, it looks fun. I think
But yeah.
XJ like 5-0'd or 4-1 quite a lot with it leading up to the event. So
But yeah, what I also want to talk about is like just like not only the price support and everything card tightened it, but also the cast experience. I want to say was maybe the best I've ever had.
nice.
Next to it's kind of hard to say for an online tournament at least.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I really loved like how they took care of us at Impact Returns and everything. But for an online commentary thingy, this was just like the most convenient thing ever. They gave us so much information, and also what Anorak did about like cutting down on the downtime, right? By having some pre-recorded matches and starting coverage 2 hours later. I think he just did some tournament where he summed it up that by the end of the tournament, he saved people 3 hours of downtime
Amazing.
altogether.
As a
just
viewer, it was incredible. It was so nice to watch.
Back to back, right?
Just really, really, really
Like literally
smooth.
only like a couple of minutes of downtime. And as a caster, I also feel like people think, oh, casters want to like decompress between. No, I thought I also want to do that, but actually I love just we kept going at it, just like very small breaks, like bathroom breaks, and then we kept going. So you never like decompress and then you have to like launch back up again. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just keep going. And I want to cast like that for the rest of my life.
Oh, you just need to get Anorak on everything then. That easy.
Yeah, and Bradley JX, like if you know who Bradley JX is, then you're a real one. Like Anorak told me about Bradley, and like sometimes I go to his Twitter account just to see who the other real people are, because he's actually the guy who invented this. At least he taught Anorak. And Anorak, like for a year, he told me about Bradley JX and all the smart stuff he does, and like he actually has the biggest brain in the world. And yeah, so check this guy out, because anything awesome you see in coverage and anything you haven't seen before that makes the viewing experience so much better. Chances are, like Anorak is putting it into action, but Bradley JX created it in his big brain.
Thank you, Bradley.
Yeah, and I don't even know what he looks like, so I can't even thank him when he wins. I just walk around. Are you Bradley? Are you Bradley? Oh, okay, thank you. But yeah, we got more data for you guys. We got more data. We got the data coming to us from mtgmeta.io. And this is something we already kinda were like seeing in the first 2 Eternal Weekend events. The best decks in Legacy, at least with regards to win rates, and we are talking about thousands upon thousands of matches. I think only Eternal Weekend NA alone had something close to 6,000 matches. So let's say we are talking about like the other events are a little smaller. We're talking between 10 and 15,000 matches of data, which I guess they kind of overlap. No, actually, that's fine. Yeah. So the bias is just like oozing out of my ears for everything. So
We're trying not to be.
Yeah, we're trying not to be biased, but holy shit, like Painter was the best deck in all 3 Eternal Weekends combined. Match-wise.
To be completely unbiased, I'm quite surprised. I was not that high on the deck. Some people reached out saying, do you have any ideas? Are you testing for Eternal Weekend and things? I didn't really have anything to give, and I kind of regret not helping them more. But I just thought the deck is bottom tier 1, very high tier 2. I wasn't sure. I felt like it was kind of struggling with I think it doing well was because I was struggling with the blue-black scam matchup, but that deck is kind of full enough, actually. So that's part of why it's probably done so well. Secondly, I think it is a deck where, I hate to admit it, but like one guy's Blessing or an Emrakul in random sideboards, like, it doesn't mean you just auto win the matchup, obviously, because you lose the mid-range of Painter quite a lot, but it is just a swing in the matchup, so it's quite an easy deck to kind of, hate a bit. So
I guess not even necessarily hate, but get an edge.
Exactly. It's an Emrakul is not a hate card. It can totally be played around, and now that the deck has done very well, people are going to add it back, and now it has to be on our radar as Painter players again. But people have just completely cut that thing. Like, you'll sometimes have an initiative deck with 1 in the sideboard, but it's not a common thing, and now it'll probably come back. So I think it's like a much less exaggerated version of like when Dredge is bad, Dredge is good, when Dredge is good, Dredge is bad kind of thing. So that helped. I do think the white splash is very, very good and has helped it, and it's now a bit of a coming out, like, people are playing swords and 4th Illingus now, so I think that helped as well. 4th probably wasn't on people's radars, especially
I guess for quite a few people, because it's been somewhat popular, but yeah, I think in a tournament of
from Painter specifically.
I was talking about Painter, but I think in a tournament of 1,000 people, I think you will certainly catch tons of people off guard.
Some would know for sure, but So yeah, I was very happy, obviously, and as I said, quite surprised. I expected it to be in the just over 50% kind of area.
Yeah, it's actually 56, which for a legacy deck, and like we're talking about 700 matches for Painter here. That's I mean, all of this is like pretty significant at that point.
Yeah,
and,
that's a lot of matches. That's a very high win rate for a lot of matches. Again, you could always argue you can have more, but for what we usually for what we get out of legacy, usually that's very high.
Mm-hmm. There's one Achilles heel, according to the data and also in my own experience, and it's one of those decks where people are like, no, I do find that matchup, and then they win 4 out of 10, and they feel like, oh, it's actually not that bad, right? And you're like, and that is initiative. And looking at the matchups that Painter has had over those 3 tournaments, it's literally the only negative matchup. Initiative is 42.5%,
which I think is a good matchup for Painter.
Dude, get out of here, dude! Sure, like. Fucking get out of here, seriously. Like, what are we talking about, man? Like, Initiative is not a good matchup for Painter.
Well,
how is it a good matchup for Painter? Like, you never get, like, even if you like try to get the Initiative, like, you lose it right over, and like you also lose your entire board while you try to get it. It's just like
I found, like, kind of like a little bit of like bias side. It's pretty even, but the way both decks...
Oh, see, now we come down to pretty even.
No, I think it's slightly favor Painter, honestly. But it depends on the variant of Painter a lot. And it's one of these matchups where you both play your opening hand. I know it's a joke, it's obvious. But you play your opening hand, and the game is very much decided...
I need to take notes. Okay, play opening hand, it says here.
The way the game plays out is, really based on who has a better opening hand. Like, the game goes longer, and top decks can decide it later. But when one of these decks wins, it can just feel like a complete blowout. So you need to play a lot of matches from either side to get a good feel of actual numbers, how it is. Because you could play as Painter and just have the turn 1 creature, turn 1 Painter off Ancient Tomb, and then Fury their turn 1 Seasoned Engineer and get the initiative. They don't get it back, or you just combo them quickly. You can have some really, really good draws.
I think actually the wins that you do get are usually with the combo. This is one of those matchups where I don't really feel that confident in the mid-range thingy.
For me, it's a complete mix. But again, I've been recently playing with 4 Fury, 2 Touch the Spirit Realm, and 4 Swords in the deck. So
this is the next evolution of Painter.
Well,
I can see that helps.
So I went to this angle because I thought Initiative and Dragon Stumpy are very good at the moment. So I want 4 Fury, and it's good.
Dude, by the way, I feel so stupid. Like, Ensnaring Bridge is the stupidest, biggest trap you can ever have against Initiative. Like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, they just touch it or hide behind it.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, I got the Initiative. I will play Ensnaring Bridge. And they play like, I don't know. I was going to say like White Bloom Adventure. Probably not. Like Chaos. But you get the idea, right? They just like pick the Initiative and you're like, oh.
I will say, I think the Initiative matchup, you have to play quite weird. Like, you have to play very tight against as Painter to win it. So I'm not saying I play it well either, but like, you need to really plot out combats. You need to work out 2 turns ahead where your removal spell is going.
Like the fucking stupid Solitudes, they always get me. That's like what messes up everything.
Yeah, Solitude is a card you can rarely play around, so you kind of just eat that.
Yeah.
And Initiative's hands, when they're good, are just insane and beat almost everything in the format. So you often have to recognize when they're having a nut draw and just go for your high rolls. Like, if they play a turn 1 4-mana Initiative creature and you don't have a Fury or a Swords on the spot, you need to play your turn 1 Saga and like hope you draw an Engineer or a Painter or something to combo them quickly. You need to play to your outs when you recognize their nut draws. So, and then sometimes you don't hit it, but yeah.
Yeah, and so that sometimes happens way too. Like, yeah, I guess we disagree on that. I really don't like the matchup, and I feel that reflected here in the numbers as well. But
fair enough.
I guess your current list is certainly better than what I'm playing right now.
That plays a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. Okay, now we've talked about Initiative. Actually, the second most successful deck, 55% at 900 matches. What can we say about Initiative that has not yet been said about it? That deck is really good.
Not surprising in the slightest. I think the deck will continue to be amazing. It is amazing. It's just very strong. And I think it'll be one of the top contenders for quite a long time now. It's
you know what I like?
Yeah.
You know what I like about the deck so much? It really punches people who struggle early on. Like, you kept an awkward hand. Like, you made some kind of misstep with your lands, with your early plays. Like, yeah, that's it. Next game.
You mean 4 Ponder, 2 lands is not a good hand?
Oh man, yeah, maybe one day.
Would you ever mulligan that hand in the blind on the draw?
On the draw, I've probably not. No. It depends like on which kind of deck I'm playing, but I can't really imagine a deck that I would play that wouldn't want that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, if I had information on the opponent, they're like oops or spells. Yeah, I'm mulliganing.
Of course,
but,
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, let's complete the triple red trio of the most successful decks.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, the third most successful deck. And by the way, we're talking about decks with a certain threshold of matches. So we're not talking about here, mono, white, aggro, tree fork, whatever have you. That won 6%.
That deck was good.
Yeah. We're trying to hide the tech for the next Eternal Weekend. That's the idea right now. We're actually coming to a deck that has the least amount of matches in this top 12 or something. And that is Dragon Stompy at still 428 matches. And Dragon Stompy won 54% of their matches. And Dragon Stompy, I guess we also call it like Moon Stompy. I think that's the more common name. Red Stompy, it says so here on MTG Meta. Everybody knows what they're talking about, right? It sometimes differs in like their choice of win condition, but I think Broadside Bombardiers has been widely adopted at this point, right?
Yeah.
Is it not? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one? Because I think that one was kind of out of the spotlight for some time, and now it's somewhat coming back.
Yeah, I think I think Bombardiers has added to the deck's power quite a lot. It's just
that card is really good.
It's just a really good card, and then Dragon Stompy always goes in and out of fashion, and how good it is depends on often how good Chalice and Blood Moon are. Chalice is not great at the moment, hasn't been for a while, but Blood Moon is good because Delver's gone to Rug and Grixis as opposed to Blue-Red. And, there's these 4-5 color mid-range soup decks. Bug Beans is kind of a thing as well. The Blue-Black Scam, despite them having the land cyclers, a Blood Moon is much better than Magus in game ones as well. So I think like Bombardiers just made the deck quite a lot more powerful, and then it's just fairly well positioned as well. So
yeah, I guess Bombardier also gives you a little bit more of reach, kind of that basically can close out the game a turn quicker than it used to.
If you need to block a Murktide.
For example, I guess.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Okay.
But
dude, I was just trying to single block the stupid Bombardiers just like before this game. I was like, oh, dude, this menace. Like out of all the things, was like, oh, and let's make it also a lot harder to block.
Just have like menace plus being able to shoot something in the face is just.
Yeah, it incentivizes horrible blocks for you. Like you basically want to triple block it, and then you still like lose all your board.
You can't really block it. It's
yeah, but you kind of want to because you don't want to do this stupid, Fury post combat, yada yada.
Oh
yes.
Like
yeah. Dragon Stompy really good.
See, I'm not surprised to see it up there as well. Honestly, it's kind of why I said like I didn't actually look at the numbers yet, but that's why I said I want to be playing 4 Fury in Painter because these two decks are so strong.
It very much is. So yeah, by the way, you know what these decks got in common?
Ancient Tomb.
Exactly. They abused the card that like 1 year ago we were calling the best card in the format.
Or is it Basic Mountain?
Yeah. It's kind of funny, right? I think there was a time in Legacy where we were talking about like it's basically a 4-color format. Mm-hmm. Nobody plays red. Then we talked about like how nobody plays black. And now like it's all about
but now it's like soup, no red, and then just red on its own saying screw you guys, I'm gonna play
soup,
up by
no
myself.
Red and all red, yeah.
But at the top of the metagame.
This is red against the world. That's how we do it. Really, really good. I mean, a card like Ancient Tomb can only ever get better, right? That's just like nobody's gonna start playing like what do we have like? I don't even remember the stupid name of the card.
Just wait until people played Sabo's Web's main deck.
Yeah, exactly. So something like that.
Does that work? No, sorry.
No, that doesn't do anything. Like I'm talking about the card that makes it tap for 1 mana that people played against Cradle for a while.
Oh god, Damping
It's also Damping Sphere. Yeah, that's the one. Not gonna happen.
Please,
like, not
please play Paint. Please play that card against like all these 3 top decks.
Yeah. But yeah, now after our Ancient Tomb top of the format right now, we come to 4th place. 4th place with a whooping 1,200 matches. Beanstalk Control. There's many different flavors of Beanstalk. For MTG Meta, they basically turned it into a single deck, which, as Callum already mentioned, can sometimes be 4-color, no red, sometimes 4-color, no black, sometimes 5-color. Very rarely still, I guess, like banned 3-color. That's not really a thing anymore, right?
No, there's probably some in there. There's definitely players out there who are on it, but I think either red for Blast or like Meltdown actually more necessarily, or Bowmasters is just like you really need a bit of extra power. Bant is just a bit flavorless.
Yeah, I feel like even the red versions, they sometimes just have a single volcanic for 4th Erlingers.
Oh, yeah,
they don't even bother to play any kind of blasts. Like they have the blue blast. That's all you need. And like it makes so much sense, right? You look at the top of the metagame and you see like all these top red decks, and blue blast is so annoying to play against. And
I would
even gets them out of like from under like a Magus of the Moon or something if they got some access to blue
just
mana.
having like 2 or 3 Lorien revealed in your deck and then having some blue blasts means you can get under Blood Moons. So yeah. No, this is about where I think I overestimated this deck before Eternal Weekends, and we all did. I thought it was actually a bit too good and going to be a bit overbearing.
It basically got like triple into Japan's top 8, right?
It did have
triple or quadruple or something.
It did have 3 in Japan top 8, but it didn't. I just thought it'd be like triple or 4 of in all the top 8s.
I mean, it's still the best blue deck in the format according to these stats here.
Yeah, it's true. But I was quite happy to see it didn't put 3 or 4 into every top 8. But I just thought there was a chance of that. And I do agree with the general direction that people went for Japan and America here with the Bowmasters in the main. I think that's definitely the route to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But Europe didn't really have that as much. So it was interesting to see a divergence there.
I guess Europe is still addicted to that stupid dragon, like the danger noodle in the sky. What's it called? Yorion. Don't play Yorion. Come on.
Yeah.
Apparently, Yorion is only good in Death and Taxes, and Death and Taxes won 50% of its matches flat.
Nice.
But yeah, before we get to that, we got 2 more decks here. We got Grixis Delver at 52% and Rug Delver at 52%, basically sharing the top spot for the best tempo deck in the format. I feel like wasn't Rug supposed to be pretty good against Grixis? I thought it also says so here. They have a matchup of take it or leave it some percentages here, but this is 61% in favor of Rug against Grixis.
Wow. I guess just like having extra grinding power from the Questing Druid.
Yeah, also stuff that gets around Bowmasters, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah.
And also, if you bought the guide from Chuchu, he also mentioned like on the draw, you take out the divers because you don't want to lose your creatures to Bowmasters and stuff. So I guess you can very much lean into control role in that matchup.
Sense. This is a lot of tempo in the events though, like 1,800, almost 1,900 matches.
Yeah, for those two. And then I guess we also count Scam, right? That's also kind of a tempo deck. And then Shadow is a tempo deck. I mean, Legacy has always been pretty tempo heavy.
For sure. I'm not saying it's unhealthy, but like there's a lot of representation between, Grixis, Rug, and then as you said, Scam and Shadow, like similar things.
You know what I like? I like that there's like not the de facto tempo deck. Remember when we had like expressive iteration and it was just like blue-red and that's it? Completely
agree. I'm saying these numbers, but I'm not saying this is a problem at all. I'm saying I love that there's multiple 3-color Delver decks. I think it's a really cool thing. Like, back in the day, there was, you got your Bugs and your Grixises and sometimes Jeskai and stuff.
I'd love to see Bug Delver coming back. Bug Delver was cool.
Yeah.
I really like Bug Delver. It's just like it's very solid.
Yeah. But yeah, this is cool. The 52% win rate for 2 different kinds of Delver. That's great. That's a good place for Delver to be. We've accepted that it's always going to be like one of the top things. So
yeah, and it certainly is. So very, very much is so. And then we got a couple more decks like hovering around 50%. That's like 8-cast, Blue Black Scam, Death and Taxes, Lands, all at like 51%. Also with like 700-ish matches to almost all of them, except for Death and Taxes, which was played a little bit less. But I guess that's just like Death and Taxes in the metagame right now. Not good, not bad. Something Chernobyl meme. Have you watched that?
Which one? Sorry.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I just want to call out Scam as well, because like I said, I think Scam's kind of dropped off. I'm not really sure how, where, why, but it was kind of pegged as the deck to beat for a little bit, by myself at least. But it's kind of just fallen into a good deck and totally fine. But do you think its downfall-ish has been because of Initiative and Dragon Stompy being good?
Oh, dude, are you looking at the data? Because that's exactly what it says here. Okay. Like, it got destroyed by Initiative like no tomorrow. It has like 34 win percentage against Initiative. Okay. It only has 40% against Beanstalk, and it has 33% against Red Stompy, which is like Blood Moon.
Cool. I probably should be looking at the data that we're talking about.
Actually, it's like really bad against most decks, and then it's good against Reanimator, which I guess makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's good against Death Shadow, which I guess it's the same deck, but it's got a little bit more tools.
I'm surprised it's so bad against Initiative, because I saw a common thing was, discard their creature and reanimate it, but I guess they just play another one. Yeah.
And also doesn't always work that way, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, tons of like decks that you know what I just like. There's tons of decks and different playstyles in there. I guess the only thing that's missing from the very top is combo, right? I guess Paint deck counts as kind of combo.
Yeah, combo is missing for sure overall.
A spell combo especially. Like spell combo is not really like there's Sneak and Show, which is basically A plus B combo, but that's already sitting at 48%.
Yeah.
Then there's Shadow at 47%, and then of course the worst kid in the class, the thing the deck that always does the worst, and people on Twitter go, there's canister going on Twitter, like, why is nobody playing Reanimator? It's so good. Literally, Reanimator comes last in these stats, like, literally all the time. Like, you look at these legacy challenges, you look at for like 4 seasons, you look at this, out of all the most played decks, it's always Reanimator in the bottom, and they still put one in the top 8 just because people love Reanimator. Me included, I love Reanimator. But when I loved it, it was like Phantom Nishoba and that kind of stuff.
You can still do that in Premodern.
Oh, as if I needed any more reason to.
Phantom Nishoba is like a staple of that.
It used to be like a thing in Legacy, but that was like very beginning.
That's
like it was
right,
quickly outclassed.
But Reanimator's still there, kicking around. Yeah, for sure. So about spell-based combo is this is not what the spell-based combo players or fans want to hear, and I kind of disagree with myself. But I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not in the results at all. So I don't really have an answer for you here. But like, I think Storm decks and Doomsday are pretty good. I wouldn't say they're bad. I think they're probably underrepresented here. I think Scam
they might actually not show up because they just didn't play enough matches. That's also another thing.
Yeah, I don't have the data right in front of me, but I think just not being here isn't really a bad sign. I still say, I think Beseech the Mirror, is it Mirror? Beseech the Storm, yeah, is really powerful. And there's that PO deck, which I still think is really good. PO, if you actually go down to enough matches, had the best win rate out of Legacy decks.
Okay.
So I think combo decks are strong. They're just not played anywhere near as much.
So actually, that would actually tell me that they're underplayed. There might actually be like room for them, and like you know how we talked about maybe cutting Mindbreak traps and stuff from Painter because like do we really need them? And they're not good against Doomsday and stuff. But that's exactly the kind of deck where you would want.
I just respect the combo decks enough that even if I don't use these sideboard slots, I think the decks are so strong. I really think again, Storm, Doomsday, and PO are very, very good decks. So.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at some more data from MTG Meta, which is like a little bit more aggregated with like more tournaments and stuff. And Doomsday is doing really well.
Cool.
All the other stuff, not so much, but that's also just like a very quick glance. There's not too much Storm combo listed by them in the first place.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, I know
Forge combo 43%, like very respectable. So Jeskai Control 44%. Yeah. You know what we say about that kind of deck.
From the aggregated win rates from, I think it was the MTG Goldfish data, I know Paradox Outcome had a 61.60% win rate.
Insane, right? But I guess there were
11 players.
Yeah, I was going to say like very small samples, but yeah, it certainly points to something. Like that, like playing against deck is also a little bit of a nightmare because you know, everybody who listens to this, I guess most people will know that thing where like they play their thing that you kind of want to counter, but you feel like if they get something else, you get destroyed. But at least against this one, usually the One Ring, you feel like you can hang and maybe fight, but if they have PO, you get destroyed. So you're like, should I counter or not? And like. If they misstep their that, and if they make the right choice, you still get to play, and that's just like that's what I appreciate about the deck. But there's one more deck I want to talk about, and I put it in the show notes there. And we already talked about it in the beginning. People should really not sleep on goblins, and both variants of this. There are these like almost combo-esque versions that play like no while or like all sticker goblins. And help me out, the new haste goblin that always destroys
Battlecry Goblin is so good.
It's so annoying.
That card is so
incredibly good.
Yeah.
So we got that, and then we also get the more traditional version, which I think also sometimes plays like 2 sticker goblins or something, right?
Yeah.
2 or 3.
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah. And that one's also really good. I think we got Geodude Chariot, which just won a Legacy Challenge with like straight up wild goblins.
Love it.
And also at Eternal Weekend, we only had 14 players playing goblins, but they got to a win rate of 57%. So looks like the deck is very playable, and judging by my own experience, dude, I get destroyed.
Yeah,
so hard
it's really good. So there was 2 of the like Stompy version in the top 16 as well.
Oh yeah, there was Romario Neto, right?
Yep, Romario.
I remember Romario, and then somebody else as well.
Yeah,
but I mean that's kind of like the Storm deck of the format right now.
Yeah, kind of.
It kills you on turn 2, turn 3. It's over. GG.
Turn 1,
good luck.
Sticker Goblin, and then Muxus Stormcast 2.
It's insane.
It is very good, but I love that both versions are doing well. Like, it's no secret I'm a big Goblin fan, so you know the Vile Goblin thing doing well is great. And Eli, who is Goblin Lucky 1, he's been shouting that goblins are very, very, very strong for the past few months, honestly, like at least 2.
You know, did Eli actually win the Battle of Goblin Lackeys?
Well, I think
like
all the others have like gone off into the Warrens. So
no, there were like so many people named after Goblin Lackey.
Yeah.
There was like Goblin Lackey 1, who's Eli, and then there was turn 1 Goblin Lackey. Is he still around?
I don't know. I'm going to say Eli won because all the other ones I don't know where they are.
We had one of them on a podcast, and I think it was Eli.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, he won. Like our guest won.
Eli won for sure. Like
that's how we're gonna spin it.
He's the Goblin King for sure.
He's What's the next? He's the Maxis.
I know he'll want to be
Goblin Brandy or something.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. Ooh, but yeah, that was quite the event. Also, I really enjoyed just like sitting back and watching the finals. Like Kai and I, we kind of wanted to cast all of it, but then as the tournament grew and like we added a second team of commentators and stuff, like we split it up and we ended up doing the first shift every day because we're like fully based in Europe. And like just sitting back and watching the top 8, that gave me such strong the old SCG vibes and stuff. Like wow,
I loved it.
That so much.
I had set aside time to watch it, so I was just chilling as well, enjoying my no downtime.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I would even like rewatch.
Yeah.
This is something else, and you know we are probably gonna talk about this in a future episode, and I already have like 1 or 2 guests on mind because I think the next one Kai is also not gonna make it because that's when he's gonna be in Japan, I believe. But I kind of want to talk about like after Legacy has shown up like big time, like. What's the future for it? Like just the other day, like there was this big discussion on Twitter about like how so many people seem frustrated with Magic and like hashtag EV, right? You probably saw that as well.
Yeah.
Did you really?
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay, because you did so good. No, like basically the last 2 days there has been this huge debate about
EV,
like
EV from events and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, is it worth it to go to these events and like play in it? Like everything is so bad. Like so much frustration is coming on. And I can see where that's coming from, especially if you play like these I don't know RCs, and then like you go to the 1,300 player RC and like only I don't know top 16 or something qualifies, and it's just like, is this even worth it? But I kind of feel like that's not really a thing. Like, when's the last time you knew what the top prize at 4 Seasons was?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The first top seasons I played were top 16. I didn't know there was a prize until Francis told me to go and get it. No, I've been reading it and I just feeling quite lucky that I'm so detached from that kind of thing, because when I was younger I was more into Magic, but I'm reading it thinking this is I'm not interested in these events to begin with, so I'm lucky in that regard, because the Magic grind is quite addicting and it is quite unhealthy for a lot of people. And some of the more mature people, this is not a slight against the people that are really into it and stuff, but some more mature people that have been there through the better times, years ago, are able to be like, reflect on it a bit more and be like, okay, I've had my fun, blah, blah. But coming into Magic now and into the grind now as a younger kid and stuff, and, it's so much harder, so much more expensive. I can see why you're like trying to work out, can I afford to go to this thing? The events are so much more expensive than they used to be. You're like, trying to cap yourself for what you can afford to go to, whereas in the past it was like you just go to every single one because you're playing Magic. I think I think everyone needs to show some humility and understand what it's like to be a younger person that's just really into a game. Like, we were all there once when we were younger as well, but it's just way harder to play now. So
that's actually a good point, right?
All of the older people being like, oh, the EV is the friends you see along there, but like that's because we've been there already. So
it's actually a good point, didn't it? Actually, because the thing is, it's not like we don't complain in Legacy, right? Especially Eternal Weekend Europe, like we certainly complained about, like compared to, for example, NA, the like the price payout and everything was just like, it's just like can't even properly compare it.
Yeah.
But then again, yeah, we very much are in that boat of like, it's fine for me if I play like 3 or 4 big events a year, and the rest is just like local stuff, and I own my decks or I can play with proxies. Like all of that stuff doesn't concern me, and even if the quote-unquote buy-in versus payout EV is bad, I can still treat it as a holiday. Yeah. And I think you made a good point that a lot of people can't do that, especially with decks costing like, I don't even know, right? Honestly, like 500, 600, 700
decks,
euros.
Entry fees, travel, hotel. Yeah. It adds up so much that you're just never going to be making money on these events. But there's this illusion that you will, and sometimes you do, and the top players do. But
you know what sucks, actually? Kind of, when I think about it? Like, if that had happened to me at some point in Legacy earlier, like I think I was lucky in the sense that I got really deep into Legacy and like made lots of connections, played lots of events all around the world. When Legacy was really cheap and playing cheapies was really cheap, And I guess it was also pre-COVID and flights were cheaper and like basically everything was a
Yeah.
lot cheaper. And I also didn't have a lot of money, like really not, but it kind of worked. Whereas now I think if you're coming up and you kind of want to do all that stuff, like I guess you want to move out and what else, and you also want to have a legacy deck, or even a modern deck. Like we're not even necessarily talking about legacy. I see where the frustration is coming from. I think the biggest problem is you almost feel like you can't walk away because you're so invested in like the game, the community, your skill
your
as a
friends
player.
are there. Like
your friends, right?
Like if you walk away and stop playing, you know, you've spent like a lot of your youth making friends and connections with these people, and then you're like, hey guys, you want to do something? And they're like, yeah, we're going to this Magic event, let's do that.
I mean, that's what Magic players do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
and
it's kind of like sunk cost, but it's not sunk yet. I don't know.
That's sunken cost fallacy, right?
Yeah.
And not even with regards to like buying cards, but also like with committing your life to something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know who it was. I think it was Max Torschen who had like a really good tweet about basically for a lot of people also when they go to big events, it's they might not necessarily say it, but it certainly was for me like the search for glory. Like if you get to a feature match and like people talk about you and that kind of stuff, that felt really good, like really good, especially the first times like when it happened. And when there's less coverage, it's not that exciting.
Yeah,
I guess.
fully agree. I saw that tweet as well, and I totally agree with it. Like for me, I would prefer like a stream going in the tournament I'm playing in just for that chance of glory than extra prizes. Like I know a lot of people would disagree. There's a lot of people that just like competing and winning and stuff. That's probably a more popular thing, but I don't know. It's just a proof that again people want different things out of it. So you know you're trying to cater to a lot of things, but I think we just had it pretty good before. So
yeah, we certainly had, and there's a problem right now, and I don't know what the solution is and how it's going to be tackled. I think for Legacy, it's in a pretty good place.
Yeah, Legacies, now we're quite lucky that we're just on the outside looking in. I think the next 3 years are going to be very turbulent for, you know, mainstream Magic.
Okay. I guess now we're getting into like a really completely different topic, and like the more I talk about this, or rather the further we get away from the core topic, the less I know about it. But like just the other day on Twitter, I saw something that people were like really not that excited for the future of Wizards, but very much excited for the future of Magic, and which is like this huge disconnect because you can only buy the whole package. If you want to buy like Wizards stock, you buy like Hasbro stock. Or rather, they are not excited for the future of Hasbro, right? But you gotta buy the whole package, and that's where this whole idea of breaking Magic off from Hasbro came, so people can directly invest into Magic, but then Hasbro would probably tank and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, when there's this inherent thing where this one brand is putting this company, it's probably not good. But
it's probably it's definitely not good.
Also, by the way, fuck all those layoffs. Like literally, they laid off like how many people? Thousands or something right before Christmas.
Absolutely disgusing. Yeah.
Like especially like when you think about like how much talk there is about like, oh, Magic is like doing so great and the record year, and then they're like, oh, we'll just let you go before Christmas.
This is like Dave McDarby's and stuff. This is not just randoms and things. It's very disheartening.
You're not talking about like interns who didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. This is people who have like dedicated their life to Magic and stuff. It's it
was actually
really
quite shocking like when you saw it on Twitter when like everybody was all of a sudden saying, oh, I got laid off. Yeah,
it's just further nail in the coffin of like I guess the community sentiment towards the company.
Yeah,
I just think there's very few people that like the company anymore that actually have been fully invested in the game all their life.
Yeah, there's only so much goodwill you will have for Wizards at that point.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like Daybreak, amazing. It's just like can't like Daybreak take over the entire thing? And then
us like legacy players that play Magic Online are feeling pretty good. Like we don't have the 40k cards, but we do have Daybreak, and kind of like no one gives a shit about our format, so we're happy with it.
You know the thing is about Daybreak, it feels so good that I almost am scared whether there's like some rude awakening to it, that where sometimes like they wake up and they're like, oh, by the way, now there's a monthly fee of $50 for Magic online and you get nothing in return, which obviously is not going to happen. But like we've had it really good with them, and I feel like I don't know, maybe I've been burned in the past and I have trust or commitment issues. I feel like is this going to be like this good like forever?
I don't know, because if you told me that 5 or before COVID, or when we had SUG like streams every weekend, and I don't know, I would have thought things get better and bigger every time. So
what can you say?
Yeah.
But I guess this is a good part to end it today. And oh yeah, by the way, Callum, I guess there's one more question coming from Needon from Discord.
Yeah.
What did you learn from Eternal Weekend for your own sanctioned tournaments? Actually, I guess your tournaments aren't sanctioned, but I guess competitive tournaments.
So actually, I do have a good answer for this, because I don't think Eternal Weekends didn't actually show me anything. I was surprised by how many people came out. Like, obviously very positively surprised. But I wasn't surprised that there was a lot of interest in big paper events. But what I've learned recently is a very important thing for little grassroots events so we have Axion now, who's our biggest TO in the UK, and I love them dearly. As I've said many times in this podcast, they're huge supporters of Legacy, big supporters of what I've done with LLM and stuff. But the last events were not particularly well attended, and I think it's just because rising costs is the real bigger thing. We put out well, not myself personally, but some other people put out some polls, and cost was the biggest driving factor for not attending. But I think
we're talking about the Axion Now events.
Yeah, and okay. I know that I've talked to the owners, and I know that they're not price gouging at all. That's just the cost of putting on events these days. It's a really, really hard position they're in. But the biggest thing was there's a lot of people without decks as well, and I didn't really work this out until quite recently, a few months ago, where if you have these big kind of premier-ish events like Axion Now, big events we're expecting over 100 people at least, or you've got your Four Seasons, but Italy is kind of like a special thing because they have such a good scene. But then you have these small grassroots events like I have LLM, where you've got the 40 to 50 people, sometimes a bit less. You really need middle events at like the 70-ish people, and those ones you can probably sanction and have no proxies, but you need a stepping stone, because to go from my small events where proxies are always allowed and always will be, where people come and play brews, it's very cheap to enter, it's very, very casual, but then to jump to a very expensive entry fee but with huge prizes, it's just too big of a jump for a lot of people. So I don't know if I have the energy in me to do now, but I think to have a big kind of countrywide scene in a sense, you need to have the small grassroots events. You need to have maybe quarterly, maybe bi-monthly, but like kind of medium-sized events where first place maybe gets a jewel. That's quite big still, but like not bigger than that. And then you can have these every 6 months kind of big events. So that's something I've learned recently, which I thought is not actually specific about Eternal Weekend, but it's something to keep in mind for organizers in other countries of these middle or smaller size events. Just keep it in mind if you're setting up a kind of a countrywide scene.
It's interesting. Something that's happening in at least southern Germany right now. It's not exactly that. We have more tournaments, like 4, or I want to say soon to be 5 or something, who band together under like one name, which still is kind of up in the air, and I'm not a fan of the current one, and I don't even know what it is.
You're not a fan, but don't know what it is.
I only remember I wasn't a fan of the name, but I think that the people who actually do this, they are aware. Not of me not being a fan, but that the name might need some work. But so basically that you earn these slots for the end of season invitational, which is kind of different because like that's very selected, and then there's like a tournament with like 16 or 32 people, which is like the opposite of what you are describing. But in general, it has the same idea of like having this regional, like all of like almost like southern Germany thing that bands together into what feels like a bigger thing. I guess that's the idea behind it. It's not like your individual small tournaments here and there, but you feel like you're part of a bigger league. Like in Italy, they always call it the league, like the law league and what have you.
If this works, this is brilliant. I think this is what you want.
Yeah, and there was some talk of actually even streaming the final thing, which would add even more to, like, I guess we talked about the glory factor, but that's in German we say that's music from the future.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I've had so many people recommend I stream these events, and it's just like maybe in the future, but it's a big setup cost.
The thing is also, I don't think it's really worth it.
No, that's what I've always thought.
You get like, I don't know, 15 to 20 viewers if you're lucky.
It's a ton of work.
I mean, it's great for those people, but overall, I don't think it's worth it.
No.
Especially, people I think underestimate the work.
To be blunt, my answer has always been, sounds great. When do you want to do it?
Loving it. I'm going to steal that.
They never want to do it.
Yeah. We had somebody else who also wanted to do it, and he even recorded it, but then I think he already knew, and he never really put them out. Like, it's actually kind of sad. Like, I won the Invitational, Southern German Invitational in January, And he recorded basically all the tournament, but then it was just like too much work for him. So he put out all the matches up until the semifinals. And then he put it up. Like I won the finals, he didn't put that up. And it was like the greatest game because I won with like, yeah, I got milled out. And then I still won on the upkeep with the initiative thingy. And
yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, what can you do? But yeah, that's it from us today. If you like Everyday Channel, if you like Legacy, if you like us, I guess you can support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or you can also join the Patreon on patreon.com/everydaychannel. Or rather, most importantly, just literally tell everybody about the podcast. Tell your friends, your mother, your father, anybody, your dog. If she's got a smartphone, can give us clicks. Nice. Dog is the way to go. And with that, we're gonna call it a day. Thank you so much for the people making this work, all of our Patreons, especially on Eternal Witness tier. Colin Garassi, Alex Crow, Tim Everett, Testacular, Sebastian Holager, Guillaume, Sean Dewey, Francis, runner-up of London Legacy Quarterly Cowper,
London Vintage
Cassandra
Quarterly.
Davis. Oh, that was it. Cassandra Davis, Dylan Shoemaker, Reto Schara, Tom Tischka, Benedikt Gruber, and Severin Schwarzhuber. And on our top Grizzlebrand tier, Scott Monroe, Tom Happ, Kane, Ian Seifert, and Colonoscopy. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you,
and
everyone.
See you again next week-ish. And everybody, happy holidays, and see you soon.
See everyone.
Bye-bye.